Hey there, everyone, and welcome back to Disconnected. I'm so happy to have everybody here tonight. Dustin, it's been quite some time. We were just talking about this. Feels like just, I don't know, 7 weeks ago, but it's been like 9 months,
Yeah, September.
and I'm just thrilled you're here. So, how are you? Welcome
Thank
back.
you.
See
Yeah,
you.
thank you so much for having me back.
It's my honor, genuinely, because I am always thrilled. Are we wearing the same shirt tonight? Really?
Oh, I got my yeah.
Well, happy Pride again to everybody. Hello, welcome back, welcome back. How's everything been? You watch a ton of movies. I'd love to hear what you've been loving this year.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say when we were talking before the show, yeah, I think it's starting when the Oscar nominations came out. I sort of told myself I was gonna basically watch everything that was nominated, and
Wow.
that included every short film. So, like, I
Yeah.
went to the theater and saw all of the shorts, the live action, the animated, the documentary shorts.
Nice.
Um, and yeah, I think from that, then I was just like, well, let's carry it on and try to see as much as I can in the theater this year. On top of everything else that
Yeah.
goes on in somebody's life. So,
And
you
as
know,
they're
whatever.
super free and not busy in any way, yes.
Right. So yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff this year.
Well, we'll get into more recent watches very soon, but want to remind everybody, Dustin wrote a pretty great book that is linked in the description below. If you want to check it out, please go check it out. It's a ton of basically capsule reviews of some really great horror movies. You want to give more of an elevator pitch than that?
Oh yeah, it's called The Fright File: 150 Films to See Before Halloween, and yeah, it's a collection of 150 essays slash reviews of some of my favorite horror films.
It is great, and I hope people check it out because I am so grateful to be able to have it. It was, I've actually referred to it on a couple of things that I was helping write. So I appreciate you and all of your contributions that you've made. What have you been picking up lately? I'm always dying to hear this from certain people because you don't necessarily always share your pickup. So I don't know what you love to actually get. However, I know that you love a lot of the lower budget stuff, like
Yeah,
lower
well,
budget movies.
yeah, I feel like yeah, and this is a very busy time. I feel like lots of stuff is coming out. If I
You don't
actually,
say.
I had to pick and choose what I recently got because otherwise we would just be here for 3 hours with me
Right.
showing you everything. But yeah, so I've got but so I basically picked the ones that I got this week. So I got Drop.
I still need to get
And
that.
oh, have you did you get to see that in the theater?
Not yet.
It's really good. Yeah, I really like Christopher Landon, the director.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically, and he said that he was inspired by Red Eye when he made it. So
Oh,
it's basically Red Eye, but set in like a high-rise restaurant.
oh, that's freaking rad. I have not heard the red eye thing. That's great.
So yeah, but yeah, that was his main inspiration, I think. So that was why he wanted to do it.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's 90 minutes. It's tight. It's suspenseful. It's just very well done.
sweet. I loved red eye. So that's exciting.
Yeah. I also got. I was so happy that this actually got a Blu-ray release. The Creep tapes.
I was gonna share that next week. Yeah, I got that in too somewhere. Yeah, I'm so stoked on that.
Yeah, I love the movies, and I've only watched one episode so far. But it's excellent. It's so creepy.
Nice.
Hence the name Creep. But yeah, I'm happy for that. And then I got Lord of Illusions, the 4K. Even
Good
if
movie.
I was disappointed that it didn't come with the Blu-ray as well. It's just literally just the 4K. But
Sandpiper Pictures.
and then now this one was a controversial title when the cover was released, but I'm happy to have it. And I actually like the cover. The Wiz.
Oh yeah, I think it's a great cover. Yeah.
4K. Yeah, I think. Yeah, if there's one questionable thing about the cover, it's Diana Ross, but
I mean, yeah.
but I think it's well representative of the film. So
Very specific style, yes.
Next up, so yeah, in VHS days, I'd say the early '90s, I was really into Full Moon, and even though they weren't good, and I even knew back then they weren't good, but yet I still watched them.
Right.
I mean, there's a few that are good, but most of them aren't that good.
Yeah.
But the one that I wanted so bad on Blu-ray, and it just came out this week, and I was so happy to have it, is Bad Channels.
Yeah.
There we go.
I
And
still need
yeah,
to
I
see
just
that one.
remember it's half musical, half sci-fi. I love the soundtrack. It has lots of like Blue Oyster Cult in it.
Nice.
Have you seen that one?
No, I am dying to see it. I did not know the musical thing.
Yeah. And then all right, and then the rest literally just came today in the mail. So I got from Radiance, I got Palindromes,
Excellent.
and yeah, I haven't seen this since the theater, so I'm looking forward to revisiting it. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I saw this at the AFI Silver in DC when it came out, and Todd Solondz was actually there and did a Q&A afterward.
Excellent.
That was cool.
That's so cool.
All right, the next one. Yeah, this is going to be another controversial pick. The Umbrella
Peter Pan,
release
yeah.
of Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. I have to keep getting these because I bought their editions of the two Winnie the Pooh movies, and they're so nice. Like, this
Yeah.
is beautiful, and it comes with like a picture book and yeah, and just tons of like postcards and things, and yeah, it's just a really nice edition. So, and I actually liked the second Winnie the Pooh movie. So,
Well, and I've heard this is at the Peter Pan one is actually the best of what they've done so far, and like genuinely worth watching. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah,
I'd check it out.
yeah, I didn't think they were the Winnie the Pooh ones were as awful as some people said. Well, I think a lot of people actually said the second one was better than the first, and it definitely was. You could tell that the budget was a lot higher.
Let's be honest. Most people just had an opinion without ever seeing them. That's the
Right.
truth.
And the next one coming is Bambi: The Reckoning, so we'll see how that is.
That, and I still need to see Screamboat. I'm actually pretty damn
Oh,
curious about that
I
one.
saw that.
It-
It's entertaining. I can't say I can't say it's great, but
right.
The what's his name, the Terrifier guy.
How did I just forget it? David Howard Thornton.
David Howard Thornton. Yes, I mean, he makes it. Like, he's the best thing about it, easily. Very different than Art the Clown.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's not just repeating himself. So
right.
And then yeah, I got a bunch. I got all of the June partner labels from Vinegar Syndrome today already. I feel like that's the earliest that they've come in the mail, because yeah, I got the May, like the halfway to Black Friday ones last week, and all of a sudden I got the June ones. So I just picked a couple. I had to pick Scarecrow in a Garden of Cucumbers.
Yeah.
Because that's the best title ever. This one, yeah, I hadn't heard of this before it was announced, but it looks really interesting. Rounding.
It does. Yes, I'm eager to see this one.
Yeah. And then the last one is Enter the Void. This is a really nice edition too. You can see like it's it's got like a big booklet with it, and yeah, it's very nice. And then the very last thing that I got that just arrived like 2 hours ago before the show.
Oh, again, you are the first one to get it. That's amazing. Man, I cannot wait to hold it. That cover is my favorite so far.
Yeah, this was a great issue. I really liked I think it was Stan. He did the article on the Devils. That one was really good. But yeah, I'm really enjoying reading it. So
we are very proud of this issue. We were kind of worried about having enough to make it interesting, and then we had too much at the end. I want to go back. Josephine left a comment before we got on, and I want to highlight some of these. Josephine says, first time watches Sleepaway Camp. Roomba, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, The Sun Shines Bright, and Clooney Brown. I've not even heard of the last one. Any of these that you've seen and want to comment on?
I mean, Sleepaway Camp is a classic.
It's brilliant, yeah. I'll also throw out there Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, one of
Oh
my
yeah,
favorites of all time. Love me some Kevin Smith.
yeah, that one's good too.
Stan says thank you. All right, so I set aside 3 to talk about this week. Thankfully, no crossovers. One, I got in the 4K of Abigail, which I loved
Ooh,
last year. This is the Turbine release from Germany, not the Scream Factory one. It is a slipcase with the 4K inside. I I trust Turbine maybe just a little bit more than Shout Factory, so that's why I chose them. And then I missed this one last year. I didn't think I was going to get it. And then I had a couple of people really explain to me how important it was. And I've never seen the movie, so this is going to be a first time watch, hopefully in the next couple months. But I went out and made sure that I got Kickboxer on 4K before it left Amazon. This is an exclusive 4K steelbook that Lionsgate put out. And it's the best release of the movie so far, not just because it's in 4K, but it's got the multiple cuts of the film. It's got pretty much everything that somebody would want on it, and I need to check it out.
was that the one? Did you say that was out of print now? Or?
No, but it's one of those that I'm expecting it to not last a long time. I was kind of surprised it was still there. This is the steelbook on the inside, and then this is the back cover. And then, of course, being Amazon, because I don't really trust it very much, I bought it once and had to return it because they sent me an open copy that was mangled.
Oh,
definitely a return, and they just sent it right out. Sibner is saying, is Amazon stopping production of it? It's not Amazon's choice, it's Lionsgate's choice. And a lot of their limited edition stuff that was exclusive to Amazon has gone out of print already. And then finally, this is my last thing, but probably the thing that I'm most excited about for this month's pickups. This is from a company in Italy, actually, called The Legends. And this is their brand new release of Sing 'Em. This is their first physical media release as part of their company. And as a brand new company, they just signed with Shout to release the, not all of them, but like 8 or 10 of the Golden Princess titles that they've signed. So this company that's giving a lot of great attention to stuff like this is going to be getting their hands on City of Fire, the John Woo titles, a couple of the others. And I mean, the fact that Shout is licensing it to a bunch of territory shouldn't be surprising to people, but I'm glad that we're going to have options around the world of some of these, like City on Fire and Hard Boiled, that people want the best possible release for. So, yeah.
Awesome. What is the label called again?
They're called, it's a pretentious title, but they're called Legends. Here is their logo and the brand name right there. Well, I guess Legends Collection. And yeah, as you can see on the side, this is the Legends Collection #1.
Nice.
Eager to see this. I've heard it's a really fun movie, and Indian cinema does not get enough releases. I know that company, I think it's called The Cloud Door, is like doing a Kickstarter or Indiegogo type thing in the next couple months, and they're going to be focusing on South Asian stuff, a lot of Indian cinema. So hopefully we see an uptick in those. Yeah.
Excellent.
All right. Now the big question. What have you been watching lately? What have you loved in theaters in the last couple, we'll say, month and a half?
Well, I figured I'll focus on this week's stuff. I've already seen all 3 of the wide releases this week, so I'll go over them. But yeah, last night I saw How to Train Your Dragon, the live action. I saw it in IMAX. It's probably what you're expecting, which is it's basically, if you've seen the animated one, it's basically a repeat of that. Pretty much beat for beat.
Yeah.
There really isn't that much that's different about it. I mean, I try to go into it and sort of imagine if I was watching it without there being an animated version. So like if I were to just watch it as a live action film and there was no previous one, it is well done. And I mean, and you know, I enjoyed it enough, but at the same time, it was hard because you just keep questioning, like, why, like, even though you know why. But I mean, it is well done in its own way. But yeah, I feel like they could have done a lot more with changing it up from the animated version.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm just too cynical. I mean, I know a lot of people, it's not like a hot take to say I hate remakes or whatever. I don't hate that these exist. I just don't see why. Like, is it genuinely just a cash grab, or are they trying to reach a different audience that doesn't appreciate animated movies? Which those exist. I'm not putting that down at all, because I totally get that.
I mean, I feel like it's gonna do big numbers this weekend. Like, it's
Always will,
gonna
yeah.
be huge. It's gonna be like Lilo and Stitch. It's gonna be it's gonna be big, and that's why it exists.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's most likely the exact answer.
And then just earlier this evening before the show, I saw Materialists. That's the new Celine Song film. And yeah, I said in my little review for it that the worst thing that can be said about it is that it's not Past Lives, which was just such a great film. But with that said, it's still very well done. It's it's romantic comedy drama, but probably more drama than comedy. I think
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
the trailer makes it look more like a comedy. But it's Dakota Johnson is excellent in it, and it's nice to see a romance where the characters actually talk to each other and say what they mean without there being, false
Yeah.
crises and misunderstandings and things like that. And they're actually adult characters who act like adults. So in that way, it was very impressive, and yeah, I did like it.
I'm very eager to see it. I loved Past Lives, so I am definitely making it a point to see it this weekend. I missed Past Lives in the theater like we talked about before. I'm not going to miss this one. This is a must for me.
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad that you're going to get to see it.
Yep.
And then the third one that's opening wide this weekend, The Life of Chuck, Mike Flanagan. This is, how do I say it? It's very rare that it only comes around every few years for me where I see a movie that just affects me so deeply and so profoundly that I instantly know not only is it going to be the best of the year, but it's instantly one of my all-time favorites. Like, it's very rare that happens, and it's so inspiring to see something that just works on every single level and has so much to
Yeah.
say at the same time. And it's the movie that we really need right now, because while everything is just on fire, like, this is the type of movie that makes you feel happy to be alive. And I can't recommend it enough for everybody. I think everybody would enjoy it.
I think this debuted at TIFF last year in like September is when
Yeah,
TIFF
and
usually
then
is.
and then it took a while to come out.
So this like we had first heard the rumblings literally almost 9 months ago ish, and I've been since that first moment dying to see this. I mean, I adore Flanagan, and yeah, to get away from his usual thing and to be getting the praise that this is getting, I'm just so excited for that.
And it's the best thing he's done, and I mean that's saying a lot because I
Jeez.
mean, I like everything that he's done. And of course, it's based on the story by Stephen King, and I would say that it's not that the storylines are the same, but I would say I would sort of compare it tonally to something like Stand By Me,
Great.
and of course that's one of my all-time favorites as well. So
It's one of his best movies by far.
and also the cast, it's just like it has the best ensemble, like and it's the sort of movie where it's so specific in the way that it's written and the way that it's acted that every single actor, every single character that shows up, even if it's only for one scene, you remember them vividly. after the movie's over.
Yeah.
I mean, Matthew Lillard, for example, he has one scene in the movie, and he nearly brought me to tears. Like, he's
Jeez.
so good.
One scene. That's crazy.
And yeah, and I was like, all right, this is the best performance he's ever given, and it's 3 minutes long.
Yeah, I hope he gets. I don't know if it's just more work because he's very busy on the convention circuit too. But I would love to just see him in everything. He's got so much like left in the tank of just great stuff.
Yeah, I like that we've been seeing him a little bit more often lately.
Yeah,
But like even, like I loved seeing Mia Sara in something again, from like Ferris Bueller's Day Off and
yeah,
Legends, because she basically retired from acting and
long.
hasn't made a movie in I think like 13 years.
Yeah,
And Mike Flanagan specifically came to her and asked her to be in it, and she was like, "For you, I'll do it."
amazing.
And it's a great performance from her. So, and even I was even happy. I had no idea that she was in it. Like Heather Langenkamp is in it, and I was so happy to see her.
Nice.
Just lots of actors that I feel like they're underutilized in film these days, and he actually gives them solid roles. So,
Yeah.
I was happy to see it. But it is it is a great film.
Can't wait. Seeing that and the Materialist on Saturday. I've had my tickets bought. I'm actually going with KB, who's usually on the show. He'll be on
Oh,
probably later tonight. We're taking the wives. It's gonna be a good day. Can't wait.
I can't wait to hear what you think of it.
I had a just surprisingly decent week for me with movies. The first one, which is the only like older film that's not like a brand new release. I was asked to be on the newest episode of the New World Pictures podcast. Not been released yet, but you can hear us go into depth on the film Standalone from 1985. This is a movie that is starring Charles Durning about a veteran that witnesses a murder, you find out, and either way, it's atrocious. It's a fun episode, but good lord, this movie is god awful. Standalone is bad. Recent watches though that just got released. The wife and I did a triple feature this weekend in the theater, which we don't get to do a whole lot. Started off with the happiest film ever made, and we watched Bring Her Back. I I
Yeah.
was so excited to see this because I know that like a lot of people love Talk to Me. I didn't love Talk to Me, but I really liked it a lot. I thought it showed a lot of potential for the filmmakers. I truly adored the sound design in it. And then Bring Her Back came back with a lot of divisive, middling reviews. A lot of people kind of hated it. The writing didn't work for some people. A lot of people didn't like that it was less horror and more like like visceral depression, I guess, in a way. And good. I don't even know what to say. Like, I don't want to spoil too much. This movie is great. I loved this way more than Bring Her Back. It's still not like a 5-star film or anything, but I really felt this movie. Oh, did it go up, Ryan? I had no idea. Thanks, man. I guess the New World Pictures podcast episode is up. Check it out. I've been disconnected, pardon the pun, from the internet most of the day, and that is good to hear. Yeah, Bring Her Back has 2 moments in this movie that made me physically cringe more than any movie that I've seen in at least the last 10 to 12 years. Very interesting to see where they took the lore on this. They didn't really explain a lot, which can be a good thing. I think this movie could have been served a little bit with some more explanation of what was happening. I'm more than happy to like leave things up to people's interpretation. This thing you needed to sort of explain a little bit like of the process of what we were seeing. And if you've seen it, you understand what I'm saying. But man, this movie is good, and they know how to write a goddamn depressing film, for sure.
Yeah, I thought it was great too. Sally Hawkins.
I was about to say those 2 words. Sally Hawkins is mind blowing in this movie.
It's like the antithesis of Paddington.
It is the anti-Paddington, and yeah, it was great. What's going on, Kubrick lover? Second feature in our double feature was the newest Wes Anderson, The Phoenician Scheme. I notoriously have not been too high on a lot of Wes Anderson since I think the last one I thought was like brilliant was The Fantastic Mr. Fox. I have not hated everything, or anything like that. It is, I don't know, it's just not my thing. I appreciate the ability to like ooze style into your films. I just want there to be a little deeper story with it, and it's pretty damn surface level with the style basically taking center stage. And honestly, that works for a lot of people. Just doesn't work for me. I liked the Phoenician Scheme. I don't, and none of them I've not thought any of them are bad movies. Wes Anderson is good at what he does. I just certainly want a little bit more than what he gave. What's going on, Rafa? Welcome to the channel. I loved the basketball scene. For anybody that's seen the Phoenician Scheme, I think it might have been the scene that stole the entire film. Cranston and Hanks have incredible chemistry together. Put them as the stars of it. I know they're giant names, and that would be really difficult, but put them as like a team up, something sort of buddy movie. I really think they would give us a really great movie. They had just incredible chemistry, and Michael Cera, like probably the performance of his lifetime, which he's never been bad or anything, but he did so well in this thing.
Yeah, he was the highlight for me in it. Yeah. I thought
he was really
but
good.
I feel like the last, I liked it enough too, but I did think it was one of his weaker films. I feel like especially recently Wes Anderson has overstuffed his casts with so many people who are talented, and then he basically gives them nothing characters. Like, so many people are wasted in it.
Yep. And
it's just a shame. But I guess if you can get the best people, I mean, for even the smallest role, I guess.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's got the cachet to have like a mind-blowing cast. In any other movie, this cast alone is, oh my God, I have to go see this tomorrow. But Wes Anderson, I was like, if I see it in the theater, cool. If not, no big deal. And then the surprise for me of the weekend, I was shocked. I really enjoyed Dangerous Animals. And yeah, reading my Letterboxd review, you probably wouldn't think that I really enjoyed it, but 3.5 is pretty decent for a film. I went in expecting what we've gotten from most shark movies, which this kind of is a shark movie and not really, from the last 15 years, which is, hey, there's like 2 good scenes and the rest of the movie is kind of, man, like really bad acting. No, I thought this was actually surprisingly great. I don't think other than, I had to look him up after because I could not remember seeing him in anything, but I'd never seen Jai Courtney in anything other than The Suicide Squad, I guess, which I don't even know what he did in that movie. I barely remember the movie. Wow. But I'd not seen anything else that he's known for. This movie, Dangerous Animals, is great. This is way more of a serial killer movie than a shark movie, which they hinted at kind of in the trailers and all that stuff, but this is way better than you expect it to be. I thought the acting was surprisingly top-notch through this entire thing. Really solid storyline, a couple like iffy plot points, but it's a movie. You suspend your disbelief and everything's good. I think people would enjoy this quite a bit. And then random happenstance, we had already started to set and print a Q&A with the director from Mr. Jeremy Long in the newest issue of the Physical Media Advocate. So I got to read that after without any spoilers. It's a really good movie. I think there was at least like 2 really good scares in this, some really great body horror. I am not loving the ending, but everything else was really, really great in this movie.
Yeah, I agree completely with what you just said. I would almost say it's like Wolf Creek with sharks.
Literally, yes, and also another Aussie film, which Australia makes some really great movie.
And the lead actress, she was excellent, but she looks so much like Jennifer Lawrence to me.
Yeah,
that's all I could think. I mean, but she's so good.
I was so stoked because the same thing. I was like, this is good. I had no idea Jennifer Lawrence was in this. Like, they never mentioned it. And then she tilted her head. I was like, oh wait, that's not her. Yeah, she looked great. Just truly great movie. And the big thing, I don't want to spoil much, but there's so many choices in Dangerous Animals that they could have stopped and not taken it any further. And they don't just take it the next step that you're like, man, if they really wanted to, they could go there. There's 2 or 3 things in this movie. They go like 3 steps beyond that. And that's where I really feel like international cinema that is not based in the US truly is trumping, pun with the word there, pretty much everything that the U.S. can put out when it comes to genre films like this, because a serial killer shark movie in the U.S. would have held back probably 4 or 5 of these scenes and just like kind of wuss out or not show you all the action or the scenes that happen on the boat, which if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Not going to spoil any of that aspect, but yeah, they do not pull back any punches whatsoever in this movie. It is so good.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about before we get into our announcements?
Well, I can talk a little bit about a few of the things that I've watched at home real quick.
Yeah.
So starting, I would say a year or two ago, I started choosing just randomly different filmmakers and then doing a chronological deep dive into their work.
Yeah.
I found that it was a really good way of sort of getting a clear sense of their growth and evolution over basically their whole filmography. So like last year I did Wes Anderson actually, and watched everything in order. And I found that I really appreciated his work better doing it that way than watching just each one like when it would be released, like each year or whatever. And I found that I changed my mind on a lot of his films watching him this way. And then I also did the same thing with Quentin Tarantino, and inspired by you, actually, I did Don Bluth last year.
Yes.
Watched all of the animated films from him. And then, so earlier this year, I did Mike Lee and watched everything from him because I hadn't really seen anything aside from Secrets and Lies. So that was good. And then right now, I'm doing the French filmmaker Eric Romer. I'm not sure. Are you familiar at all with his?
I've seen nothing. I got to be honest. I don't know for sure that I've seen a Mike Lee movie either.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, he's great. Yeah, Mike Lee is fantastic, and yeah, Eric Romer, I'm really enjoying it. The only one that I had previously seen was Pauline at the Beach, and I had seen that back when I was a teenager, so like over 20 years ago. Yeah. And so I really didn't remember anything about it, but yeah, I've been going through and watching. So a lot of his filmography was separated into sort of like different series. So like Criterion released some of his first feature films were in the 6 Moral Tales.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so it's like 6 different films, and yeah, I mean, I enjoyed all of these. I've seen 13 so far from him, because then there was. So this was the 6 Moral Tales came out in the 60s and 70s, and then the six films that he did in the 80s were called Comedies and Proverbs, and so there's some fantastic ones in here. One called The Green Ray. Just completely blew me away. And then another one called The Aviator's Wife. But oddly enough, I've liked everything I've seen of the 13, aside from the one that was sort of in between the 2 series, from 1976, and this had just come out from the partner label, Vinegar Syndrome partner label, The Marquise of O.
Nice, yeah.
So this was the only one that I haven't really cared for. It didn't thrill me. It seemed like something that was more like a work for hire sort of project for him. It didn't seem like it worked with everything else that he's done. But yeah, most of his movies are, I would say, they're not big on plot. They're more about the characters and the relationships between the men and women. And I think that he just does a really good job of sort of exploring, sort of in a thoughtful way, the different, basically the relationship between men and women. They're very heteronormative.
I'm shocked.
I think in the 13 movies, I may have spotted one gay couple in the back of a party scene.
And that was an accident. They did not mean for that to be there.
Yeah, no doubt.
They stuck in.
But still, I'm really enjoying them. So the only ones that I have left now are, he did the Tales of 4 Seasons, and that was another Criterion set that came out, so I'll be doing those next.
Very nice. Yeah. stuff like that is so great. I really wanted to deep dive a lot of things, and so far the only thing we've done this year is Final Destination, the franchise. Not the same thing. Not quite on the level of Romero, I'm sure.
Oh, no. Hey, I love doing a Final Destination watch. And then quickly, I'll just say, so my first thought after watching this, I had never seen this before, but my first thought was that in the 80s, drugs were alive and well, because the Golden Child could only have been made by somebody. I don't even know. It was just have you happened to see it?
I've seen it years and years and years ago. I barely remember it. I just remember thinking, so this is like Big Trouble in Little China light, and like very light, essentially.
But I mean, it's wild. Like, it was it came out in 86 and came out during the holidays, and I guess it was advertised as more of a family type movie because it was Eddie Murphy's first PG-13 film.
Yeah.
But like, so he plays a wisecracking caseworker who's like investigating missing children, and you like see the bodies of missing children, and it's like it gets dark. And then at the same time, there's like winged demons, and there's like Charles Dance transforming into a rat. And then there's like in one scene, this like shredded Pepsi can starts dancing to Putting on the Ritz. I thought I was hallucinating, and I wasn't on any drugs, so I don't even know what was going on. But I mean, I enjoyed it while at the same time not really thinking it was very good. But I will say the 4K looked beautiful. They did a great restoration on that.
Yeah, I did not pick this one up. I'm still considering it, and likely will at some point. I think I've got most of the VSUs except for like one maybe. But I mean, yeah, great packages, and it's Eddie Murphy. Like he's one of the masters. Kind of want it.
Right. And then the last one's real quick. This was something that, because I love horror so much, I'll oftentimes take a chance on just really low budget stuff that I really don't know much about. And a lot of times I'm let down, but I was very pleasantly surprised by Looky Luke.
Yes.
This movie, have you seen this?
Not yet. I had to pick it up. I just barely got it in just a little bit ago. But yeah, like I know the guys that did the score, and I've heard this is incredible.
It really impressed me. Like, this proves like what such a very limited budget and how far you can go with it. With the resources that you have. So I would say that it's fully found footage. I would compare it to Man Bites Dog and the Poughkeepsie tapes,
Wow.
but in a more modern lens. So it's set, modern day. And I would say, like, it gets very dark because it's told completely from the point of view of this sort of like lurker who's walking around his town and following, women and looking in their, windows and watching them. And then, he eventually graduates to serial killing. And, it does get very dark, but it doesn't have that like ick factor that makes you feel bad afterwards. Like,
right.
Which I think that a lot of those movies do, like probably like something like August Underground.
Yeah, that's one of them.
So I was just, it was just so well done, and it's definitely a slow burn, but I was transfixed for all 80 minutes of it. It was just fascinating. So yeah, I highly recommend that one. And then the last things that I'll say is just, I think it was last night, I watched 28 Days Later.
Nice.
Out of Print. And 28 Weeks Later. And I hadn't seen 28 Weeks Later since the theater, so it had been, oh my gosh, 18 years. I can't believe that it's been 18 years since the sequel.
Well, before you talk about it, this is perfect time to say hang out for the entire show tonight, because after the announcements, we're going over underappreciated sequels. We're both going to be sharing 5, and I think 28 Weeks Later is genuinely an underappreciated sequel.
I think it's better than the first one.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far, but
I'm
interesting.
going there. I feel like, I feel like I like the first one, but I feel like it sort of falls apart in the second half when they get to that mansion,
It does slow down a little bit.
and it goes in a direction that it just doesn't really fully work for me. 28 Weeks Later, I just think is more interesting, and I was surprised. Like everywhere you look, there's like these, you know, big stars, or they've become big stars since then. Like Jeremy Renner's in it,
Yeah.
Rose Byrne, Idris Elba. Like it's just one after the other. You're like, oh my god, I can't believe. But I like them both, but I do like 28 Weeks Later just a little bit more.
Man, the eye scene in 28 Days though, incredible.
The which I
The crow or raven scene and then the drip in the eye.
Oh yes, oh my gosh,
Just brilliantly filmed. Brilliant. All right. Are we ready for announcements then?
yep, let's go for it.
Before we do, I do want to say one more thing. And I know I'm the one that just said, are we ready for announcements? But as usual, I'm going to say something stupid to make like 17 people unsubscribe, and I don't give a shit. I really hope people are paying attention to what is happening around the world this weekend. Saturday is going to be a very busy day across this country specifically. Please pay attention and keep yourself safe. I run the local community group here in my city, and some of the things that I've already seen people post and comment are terrifying me. Protests that are happening right now that are 99.999% completely safe, and something that people are standing up for their rights and done in a way that should not be questioned, or something that we are doubting is being met with opposition that is militaristic to a fault. Specifically, the Kansas City governor has already ruled, or sorry, the Missouri governor has already ruled that Kansas City is going to be in a state of emergency and deployed our National Guard. Nothing has happened, and the National Guard is all the way on their way here, and nothing about that makes sense. I'm genuinely worried for what is about to go down this weekend. I hope that it is massive thunderstorms in DC, so we don't see any parades happening. But this is going to be a very telling weekend for a lot of people. Stay safe. Watch out for icy conditions, and I hope that everybody's well. That's it.
Well said.
Let's talk about The Keep. This is the Michael Mann film that was released for the first time last fall in HD by Vinegar Syndrome. And we are seeing what is probably going to be the definitive release of this film. Everybody's saying, why don't we get a director's cut? It's not coming. It doesn't exist. Let's get past that. But this announcement looks kind of incredible. Yes, it is pricey. I'm not doubting that. But this thing is another one of their giant, heavy ass releases. This thing is 24 by 33 centimeters, weighs 3 kilograms. Jesus. Comes with a color laminated 27 by 40 inch folded print of the original poster, a reprint of the 5-issue comic book series by F. Paul Wilson and Matthew Smith, a repro of the original press kit, a repro of lobby cards, hardcover booklet with 80 pages of photographs, original production material, new essays, and a reprint of a 1984 Fango article. We've got a reprint of the first draft script, a 3D lenticular hard case with all 4 discs for this, and then a custom-made transparent PVC display case with anti-scratch lamination. Jesus. But the big thing here, like, there's all kinds of new extras. We've got multiple new commentaries. That is all cool and all that. But really, my pride and joy that I'm excited for is you got to go on to disc 3 and disc 4. Disc 3 is the documentary, A World War II Fairy Tale, The Making of Michael Mann's The Keep, with new interviews and featurettes. And then disc 4, the Tangerine Dream soundtrack on CD that you get to take with you. And that is amazing. I am very tempted by this ridiculous release.
So they just threw it together over a weekend, is what you're saying?
Yes. For those that remember, Imprint announced this literally like the weekend that Vinegar Syndrome had theirs go on sale to let people know it was coming. So we've anticipated this for about 8 months. Imprint has clearly been working on this for a very long time. This is pretty much everything that you could want on this.
Yeah, it's tempting. I have the Vinegar Syndrome one, so that's the only reason I wouldn't get it. But I mean, there's so much extra stuff here. Yeah, it is. They make it hard to decide.
They do. And what makes it even harder to decide is if you had the Vinegar Syndrome release with the slipcover, which I believe you do, you can sell that thing for almost the price of this version on eBay right now, which is crazy.
Wow. But yeah, it had been the first time that when the Vinegar Syndrome came out, that was the first time I'd ever seen the Keep. And of course, it had been built up so much, but I also knew about all of the production issues that they had. And I think you can clearly see where somebody else, like the studio, took over for Michael Mann. I feel like the first half is fantastic. And so just it's like setting itself up to be like something truly special. And then I feel like it sort of falls apart more in the second half. But at the same time, like I admire it so much. I just wish that we could sort of go back in time and let Michael Mann just make the movie that he wanted to make.
Yeah, I would agree there. So yeah, this is a ridiculous release of the Keep, and beyond that, if you are, tempted by Imprint, first of all, I believe this is like a little more than halfway there to free shipping already. They're announcing 22 films plus a TV series tonight. It is going to be a crazy night of announcements for Imprint. Those usually come during the show. We'll talk about all those next Thursday. Good Lord, though, craziness. All right, moving right along. Warner Archive posted their announcements last week. First is Brainstorm from 1965. This is a brand new 4K scan of the OCN. This one is one that I am not at all familiar with. It says the most fiendish idea ever conceived by the human brain. Not a lot of names with this, but it looked like it got some good reviews. Do you know this one?
No. Yeah, I've all 8 or 9 of the Warner Archives that they announced for this month. I haven't seen any of them, but I also I get excited each month when they announce them, and there's so much that I don't know because 9 times out of 10, if I take a chance and pick them up, I end up really enjoying them. And it's so many things that I had no idea even existed before they were announced. So, but I'm interested in most of the stuff this month from them.
Well, and they've really kicked it up a notch. Like we never saw 7, 8 titles from Warner Archive, and now it's like, oh, let's just open the catalog and throw everything out there. Next, this one is Bright Leaf from 1950. Again, 4K scan of the OCN. This one is in black and white. Special features on this one. We got some classic cartoons, Bunker Hill Bunny and Hillbilly Hare. This is a Gary Cooper, Lauren Bacall, Patricia Neal film. Not my style of movie, but again, just glad it's going to be archived properly for everybody. Then the one that excited me the most, Melinda from 1972. This one says blaxploitation superstars Calvin Lockhart, Rosalind Cash, Vonetta McGee, and Jim Kelly take on the mob in the supercharged action-packed thriller. You've already got me. I want in right there. We got a 4K scan of the OCN. This one will have the trailer on it, not much else. I really wish they gave some contextual extras, especially for something like this that could use it. Blaxploitation itself is really underserved in terms of supplemental features, I feel. I'm not going to really lay into shout too much right now, but the fact that they're putting out 2 Blaxploitation 4K sets with no new extras so far is crazy. But yeah, this release looks pretty great. Then, CinemaScope title. We got Knights of the Round Table from 1953. Mel Ferrer, Ava Gardner in this one. Again, another 4K scan of the OCN. Special features in this one. We got an intro by Mel Ferrer. Got newsreel footage of the gala premiere, CinemaScope short MGM Jubilee Overture, and then another CinemaScope cartoon, One Droopy Night, which normally this would not pique my interest too much. But even just seeing the CinemaScope properly restored in 4K, very curious to check this out, actually.
Yeah.
Moving right along, one that I've been wanting to see for quite some time. Miss Rachel Belwar wrote about this in an issue of the Physical Media Advocate last year, I believe. This is The Cobweb from 1955. Richard Widmark, Lauren Bacall, Charles Boyer, Lillian Gish also in this one. This says, step inside the castle, which is a large private psychiatric facility. Here, Dr. Stuart McIver, not MacGyver, McIver, devotes night and day to this profession while neglecting his pining, voluptuous wife. A colleague with a fondness for booze and a pretty face seeks to comfort the wife. Now add Lauren Bacall, Lillian Gish, John Kerr, Susan Strasberg, Oscar Levant, and subplots of love, life, and derangement. And you have the entanglements of the cobweb, which is supposed to be great.
Maybe I'm easy, but if I hear that a movie's called The Cobweb, I'm automatically
all in already. I love it. This one has a CinemaScope short on it, Salute to the Theaters, and then a CinemaScope cartoon, The Egg and Jerry, plus the trailer. And yes, I will be owning this one for sure. Next is 2 Weeks with Love from Warner Archive. And I don't remember if I said it in the beginning. These are all coming on July 29th, all of them on Blu-ray. Reminder that they are only doing Blu-ray for the most part. Most of their titles will not be 4K, even though this one is yet again a 4K scan of the OCN. This is one with Ricardo Montalban and Jane Powell. This one will have Real Memories with Jane Powell in an interview with Robert Osborne. We got classic short subjects, Crashing the Movies, Screen Actors, Classic Tex Avery cartoon, Garden Gopher, and then the trailer, which I'm glad there's quite a bit in there. Next up, The Prisoner of Zenda. This is from 1952. Lots of 50s titles this month. Another 4K scan of the OCN. This one has the 1922 silent version of this with Louis Stone and Alice Terry, an audio-only radio broadcast, Lux Radio Theater with Ronald Coleman and Douglas Fairbanks Jr., and then Screen Directors Playhouse with Coleman and John Cromwell. I'm just glad they're throwing some extras on there this month.
And all I can see is The Legend of Zelda when I see that. So.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing. And then the one that I think excited people the most, They Died with Their Boots On from 1941. This is coming the same day. This is a Errol Flynn and Olivia de Havilland title. We've got a black and white film and special features. We got Leonard Maltin hosting Warner Night at the Movies 1942 with the newsreel, military short Soldiers in White, a cartoon called A Tale of Two Kitties, All Through the Night trailer, and then a featurette, They Died with Their Boots On, To Hell or Glory, plus the trailer. Lots of stuff coming out from Warner Archive. Then, premiered last weekend, Ballerina from the world of John Wick, which I'm so, I don't know, confused why we're including from the world of X in titles now, like Jigsaw or whatever it was called, from the world of Jigsaw. We didn't need that. Come on.
Well, I will say I saw this last week, and that's not on the screen ever. Like, it's just called Ballerina. It's So I don't even consider that part of the title because it's not in the movie proper. So
Anyways,
the only reason they're doing that is because they want. I mean, obviously they want as many people as possible to come, and if they see that it's just called Ballerina.
That's the thing. In 2025, who's going to a theater just based off of a title?
I know, yeah.
Come on.
But I will say I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, I actually liked it.
I wanted to see it last weekend. Unfortunately, I still haven't seen all the John Wick titles, so I declined. This is coming soon in a Walmart exclusive 4K steelbook in the US from Lionsgate, and so that is your option here. And if that is not something that is appeasing you, you can head on over to Amazon and get this Amazon exclusive 4K steelbook. This one is another Lionsgate title. Kind of crazy to have two different retailer exclusive titles, but it's John Wick and that franchise, which is literally probably the most milked title from the last 10, 12 years from any franchise. There are so many releases of the first John Wick film. It is wild. Next up, Late Night with the Devil from last year is getting a 4K steelbook here in the US from Shudder. It is a decent looking steelbook. I don't think I've ever heard from you what you thought of this, because I'm sure you saw this one. What'd you think?
Oh yeah. So I like it a lot, but I have one problem with it. It opens. This isn't like really a spoiler, but it opens with sort of documentary footage, sort of.
This is my problem too. Yes.
Basically, telling the origin of the talk show and this host and how he came to have this show, and then it naturally should have an ending that basically is a bookend to that
Right.
tells you what happens after the show that the movie is based on, and it doesn't. So I feel like it drops the ball, because if it's pretending to be an episode of a late night show from the 70s or whenever it's set, then naturally history would tell you what happened after the show was over, and it doesn't tell you that. And so I feel like it sort of leaves you with an unsatisfied feeling, even though what's there I really like. But I just, is that what you were gonna say?
That, and like the other bookend is a problem, obviously, but the mixing of the conceits, like you start off making it look like you're actually filming in the 70s with this old school camera style, and then they very quickly give up on that, and the found footage conceit is like, oh, we're filming backstage in the 70s with this massive HD camera that will immediately pull you out. We don't get all of the filtering that they wanted, and it feels, I don't know, so like disjointed, and that stuck out to me a lot as somebody that really likes found footage. And but actually, we're going to talk about found footage in just a minute. But yeah, I didn't love this movie. I thought the story was good and the performances fine. Nothing against that. Just could have been so much better.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Next up, one that I've heard is really fun. July 22nd, Blu-ray and DVD releasing in the US of Fight or Flight with Josh Hartnett. This is coming from Vertical Entertainment. No special features from what I can see. You can pre-order this now. No 4K, although this is the type of title that screams to me will get a German 4K. So if you like this movie, I would wait like a good 4 or 5 months if you're really holding out for that. I have a feeling like Turbine would be the ones to rescue something like this.
Yeah, and I'm so happy for Josh Hartnett, like coming
Yes.
back after all these years and getting lots of good roles again, and he's just he's so good in this.
So Sibner is asking, stuck in a locked room, are we watching Late Night with the Devil or In a Violent Nature? What are you picking, Dustin?
In a Violent Nature, because I actually really like that movie, and I know you don't like it, but I'm a big fan of it.
I will watch Late Night with the Devil in a heartbeat over In a Violent Nature. I will never watch that or the sequel ever again. This one is...
You got to give it one more chance. Come on.
I have the Friday the 13th video game. I'll just go play that. This one is really interesting. You can get this now. It's not a pre-order or anything like that, but it is a BDR released as a self-release title of Captain Daimo versus the Cowmaster. That title alone, mixed with the art that those that are watching live can see, is wild. But let's go through this real quick. So Captain Daimo versus the Cowmaster is a fond homage to the weekly movie serials of the 30s, 40s, and 50s. It follows the exploits of Captain Daimo, a hero with no secret identity. He is always Captain Daimo. Along with his sidekick, Cuffy, he sets out to right the wrongs of the city he calls home. Trouble and danger arrive suddenly when a fiendish arch-villain, the Cowmaster, invades the city and begins a reign of terror and vandalism to gain power and ultimately rule the world. It is up to Captain Daimo to thwart his evil designs if only he can. So now, the other aspect of this that makes it super interesting, this action comedy was filmed in Massachusetts on 16mm black and white film all the way back in 1976. And though the shooting wasn't finished until 77, the shooting was finished in 77, it had never actually been completed. They never finished the movie. until last year. Time and funds became available, and post-production finally began in 2019. They did a film-out transfer in 2K digital. This long gestating film ended its epic road to completion in 2024 and is now ready to premiere almost 50 years after it was actually first shot. So the disc is going to include a cast and crew commentary. It's got the director talking about it at the film premiere, a trailer, 3 featurettes from behind the scenes. But there are some names with this that people would recognize. The biggest one, Larry Blamire, is a part of this, and Bob Gifford is the director. It's a labor of love. The fact that they put so much work into this is just crazy that they were able to pull it off. I am so stoked. This is one I definitely want to check out.
So is the director still alive?
I believe everybody is somehow still alive.
Oh,
which is
wow.
crazy. Yeah, Bob Gifford was there for the premiere and everything.
So was he personally able to finish it then?
Yes. This is all done in-house. Like, this is just some dudes that are still friends 50 years later that filmed everything then, and they put it together and finished the movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might be interested in this too.
If you are looking forward to this, check it out. This is so funny. Captain Daimo is I can't even say the title. Captain Daimo versus the Cowmaster.com. I'm shocked that they could get that URL. But it wasn't taken. The trailer, give it a watch. I think it's worth it. If you are into it, you will be very happy. Next, Kino announced that coming soon on Blu-ray, The Wrong Arm of the Law from 1963. This got a 4K restoration from Studio Canal in 2023. This is a Michael Caine, Peter Sellers title that has incredible reviews, but not one I have ever had a chance to see. But, I mean, can't really go wrong with Sellers and Michael Caine. This one, I had never heard of this. Did you see The Actor?
No.
Okay, so Decal on July 15th is releasing The Actor, which premiered last year. And this says, in this existential romance, New York actor Paul Cole finds himself stranded in a mysterious small town with no memory of who he is or how he got here. With no sense of identity or purpose, he starts from scratch and begins courting a local costume designer, Edna. As bits and pieces of his past slowly emerge, he attempts to find his way home. Has anybody seen this? I would love to hear if this is good.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it before this announcement. I mean, it sounds really intriguing.
Yeah, it's Sibner says it's called The Majestic. Yeah, this is a less actiony version of the Bourne Identity. Just kidding. I'd be interested in seeing it. All right, Kinos soon are releasing The Second Twin from 1966. This got a 4K restoration by Studio Canal. This is also called The Other Truth and continues their reign of films from this era in this part of the world. I'm sure this is one that you've not had a chance to catch.
No, haven't seen this one.
I don't think anybody in the world has ever seen this, but I'm glad Kino's releasing it. Lionsgate Limited pissed off some people this week with their announcements, which a lot of people were happy with them. But this is, always going to be a problem with the Lionsgate Limited when they are going to be exclusive to their site. So let's get into it. On the first release, this is July 15th, a 4K release from Lionsgate of Frailty from 2001. This is Bill Paxton's directorial debut that is rather good. And in this release, not a steelbook, by the way. A lot of people see Lionsgate Limited and they immediately assume steelbook. Not a steelbook. You get a 4K with Dolby Vision, brand new art that looks really good. There's the big thing to me, printed reproduction of Bill Paxton's original shooting script, which is crazy. They wanted to point out that they were incredibly lucky to have access to Bill Paxton's original shooting script, a rare and meaningful opportunity that offered a direct window into his creative process. We did our best to preserve the authenticity of the document in this booklet, keeping elements like the upside-down pages and the original notes, even when they stretched beyond standard margins. Despite these challenges, we're thrilled for fans to experience this piece of film history and to witness the care and heart that Bill poured into the project. They've got a bunch of legacy features on here, and then brand new features: father figure, establishing shot with David Blocker, more stories from the Frailty set, a teaser, and a theatrical trailer. This looks like a really cool release, but again, limited to the Lionsgate Limited website. Not going to be anywhere else.
That's pretty insane that they are actually including, Bill Paxton's shooting script in each copy. Like that's, when I saw this, I instantly pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little bit mixed on the Lionsgate Limited stuff, like especially with, I think one that's coming up soon, like the Vestrons moving over there. But I will say that, I mean, so far everything that I've gotten has been really high quality. So
agreed. Yeah, it's Lionsgate. It better be at this point. Jaden says, I wish they had a free shipping threshold. They do. It's $100. They just don't advertise it. Free shipping starts at $100, Jaden. The hard part is, for a lot of, like, with Lionsgate Limited, they are genuinely limited, and so after a while they will be out of print and you can't get these anymore. But the big thing is they're releasing good titles, and that's why people are pissed, is these could do well on Amazon, at Walmart, on, selling on Diabolic, everywhere, if Lionsgate made their stuff available everywhere. But if you're like buying stuff as they announce them, they're only announcing maybe at most 3 times. Three titles, not times. But usually it's 1 or 2. And that, unless something stays in stock that you want, you're not going to get up to that $100 price point. So that is a tough thing. But I don't know. If it's a title you love, like a lot of people love Frailty, you don't want to miss out on it.
Do you have a theory on why they've moved to this limited sort of, like... I mean, because I feel like unless you're really in the know, like, like us with physical media, like a lot of people would never know that this exists.
Yeah.
They would never know to go to that website unless.
Yeah, you're right. I genuinely think this is literally only rooted in money. And I'm not saying it's necessarily about greed. I think they probably did like a cost assessment and found out that when they release stuff on Amazon or in Walmart, they're not even able to recoup all the costs. A lot of the stuff is semi-expensive. I mean, reproducing a shooting script costs a lot of money for sure. Mm-hmm. As somebody that's done stuff like that behind the scenes, it's a lot of work. And now, like, I don't know, a title like this is different. I feel like it would have done well, and maybe Lionsgate Limited could have had the shooting script and release it widely as a standard edition. That would have been fine. So this sucks. Like, there's so many people that that could appreciate this, and they don't ever get a chance to see it. Give us a standard edition.
Right. I have one more question about this. Yeah. I think it was the first Lionsgate Limited release that they did. It was the Conversation in 4K.
Yep.
Do you think they're gonna do a more regular edition of that down the line? Because it's so bulky. Like, I want that so bad, but I've been holding out because it's just like, I don't need all of the extra stuff that's with it.
I agree fully. The hard part is, I would suggest people go for the Studio Canal standard that they released over in the UK. You can get it for like $30. Diabolic is carrying it. Orbit carries it. It may not be in stock right now, but absolutely give a middle finger to this. Lionsgate doesn't deserve it for something like that. I completely agree. It's expensive and it's not worth it.
All right, yeah, I'll do that. I had forgotten about the Studio Canal version. So
yep. And look at that. Mozart's Ghost was saying that UK got the regular edition for the Conversation. Oh, awesome. Somebody was asking, I missed a couple things about Lionsgate here. Totally get the argument against Lionsgate Limited, but they're getting me. That makes sense, Ryan. Totally get it. Jaden says, it's kind of crazy that $100 is legit 4 Vestron titles now. What's worse is, like, I understand the sentiment here, because suddenly Vestron was in Walmart for $12 and everybody went crazy. So many people weren't buying Vestron titles for the first 4 years that they were out there. The first 18 Vestron titles were released at $30 and never went on sale. It took until number 19 in the Vestron titles for them to start lowering the prices. And so it used to be 3.5 Vestron titles, and you should be happy now that it's only 4. Bullshit. Come on. You own the rights to these. These should not be that expensive, Lionsgate. That is so not worth it. Keith is saying, how limited are they? Not just the slip, but the release itself. So they don't advertise this, but I believe, based on what I've read on the forums, is that it's for the most part 10,000, especially the steelbooks. But there's a couple of them that went a little faster, and the only way that we're knowing the inventory is if you do the browser trick to go look at the inventory, and even then they're adding stuff after the first print run. So basically, like, they get replenished at their warehouse once, and then it goes out of print, and it's hard to keep track of. It's rough. And Gary, no, you can't get this from Diabolic. Diabolic will not have it. Orbit will not have it. Nobody else will have it unless Jesse from Diabolic goes and buys them full price from Lionsgate, because they're not doing wholesale on these, and then sells them to you for like a $5 or $6 markup at least. And at that point, if you really want it, you should just get it from Lionsgate Limited. But the way to push back on stuff like this is just not buy them. It's hard. I totally get it, especially if you love the titles. Like Frailty 4K. Is that going to happen elsewhere? Probably not. Sucks. And then, if that's not enough from Lionsgate Limited, yes, like we alluded to, Ghoulies 3, aka Ghoulies Go to College from 1990, is number 34 in the Vestron video collection. $25 from the Lionsgate Limited line. Too expensive. This should have been cheaper than that. That is ridiculous, especially after they've released triple features for like $12. That is crazy. This is for the first time anywhere on Blu-ray. There may have been like a gray market release in Germany or something. This is going to have an audio commentary with TJ Bowser, Paul Ashford of Project Louder, Mr. Carter Goes to College, Ghoulies and Gags behind the screenplay of Ghoulies Go to College, Out of the Bowl, Making the Monsters, and then trailers and a stills gallery. I'm glad this is getting a release. Everybody is like, why not 4K? Vestron has still never released a 4K, so probably not going to happen anytime soon. I think if they were going to do it, they would have done it for some of the other titles. But yeah,
I love the tagline: "Out of the bowl and totally out of control."
Ghoulies, yeah. Craig is saying, I feel like I should point out the expectation of free instant shipping is a very new thing and only exists because of Amazon. I wasn't even talking about the shipping, honestly. Although I guess I should point out the shittiest thing about Lionsgate Limited is that it's only available to the US. They don't ship anywhere else in the world. So if somebody loves Ghoulies 3 and wants it on Blu-ray for the first time, now, if you don't live in the US, you're just screwed. You can't get it. Sucks. That was not the final title. Oh, did you want to say more about Ghoulies? Go ahead.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I was looking at the chat and somebody mentioned there's a Ghoulies 4, and I'm not sure I even knew there was a 4.
There is a fourth one, and it still doesn't have a Blu-ray anywhere. The last title, also coming on July 15th, this is a 4K of The Surfer. This is the Nicolas Cage film that just came out. I think this got a wide release in 2025, but played like some select premieres in 2024. This is going to have Dolby Vision, got an audio commentary with the director, and then a making of and a trailer. I've heard this is great. Did you get a chance to see this one?
Yeah, I saw it.
What'd you think?
I was not a fan of it. Yeah, I know that a lot of people really liked it. It's very typically it's very surreal. I would say I typically I like that in a movie. But yeah, I don't want to give too much away. But basically, like, the setup is that, yeah, I don't know if you know what the premise is, but Nicolas Cage is like a businessman who he used to live on the beach as a child, and he has really great memories of it, and he wants to buy a beach house on the beach where he grew up, and he has like a teenage son, so he sort of wants to connect with him, and he like runs into these surfer, it's like a surfer gang who don't want him anywhere near their turf, and he like gets stranded in like the parking lot of this beach area, and basically the whole movie is more or less set in this parking lot. And I just kept wondering, like, when is he give up this dream, like leave, go home? And he just will not leave this place. So it's almost, and then you have to start wondering, like, is he in hell? Is it like a metaphor for that? Like, because it goes so far out of reality that it just has you questioning exactly what's going on. I found it really interesting, but also frustrating. But I will say, Nicolas Cage, yeah, he gives another great unhinged performance. So
Jason from the Force 5 podcast is here. He says it's wild. The memeability of this film is insane. I've heard it's surreal. I'm really dying to see it. Then he says, wasn't exactly my cup of tea as a whole, but Cage is awesome. Isn't he always? Isn't he always? So yeah, this looks like a great release. If you're into it, I believe this is the only 4K release of this film that's been announced worldwide, and the UK release has already been announced. So probably not getting another 4K. And supposedly, I'm sure you could attest to it. Supposedly, the colors in this are amazing.
oh yeah, and the majority of it is set in the daytime, really like sort of like a sun bleached look to it. Yeah, it'll really pop
Nice,
on 4K.
nice. Hey, we just talked about this before we went into the announcements, but the newest issue of the Physical Media Advocate is out, and put a lot of work into this one. I'm super proud of this cover. Planet Mondo killed it with this, and it goes with our featured article this month, which is on the physics of cinema, which I think is just really, really fun. Great stuff. We got a piece on the Devils, the Dark, Peter Lorre, Dangerous Animals, a bunch of other stuff. Another edition of bad movie posters, some puzzle work, and yeah, fun issue. And I'm very, very excited for people to see what comes out in July. Gonna be a good one. Friendship. What did you think of Friendship there, Dustin?
It's grown on me since I've seen it. Like when it first ended, I didn't know quite what to think of it. Because it sort of really doesn't offer up many easy answers at the end, and sort of makes you, even though it's a comedy, it sort of makes you feel bad.
Oh
and
yeah.
and it makes you feel sad for the character. But at the same time, like, since I've seen it, I just keep coming back to so many different scenes and lines in it, and just the insanity of it, and also it's so cringe. Like, but I love cringe humor.
Oh, same. I have you watched Tim Robinson stuff outside of this?
No, I was unfamiliar with him.
Wow. You should probably watch at least a few episodes of I Think You Should Leave on Netflix. He is so good. So good.
And I will say, in addition to him, like, and Paul Rudd, I thought Kate Mara was really good in it. Like,
yes, quite good.
Yeah, the whole thing with, I won't give it away, but the whole thing with the tunnel is just insane.
Where's your mom? In the sewers. So yeah, Friendship coming on Blu-ray from A24 in August. I love this movie. I thought it was great. I've also really loved Tim Robinson for a while. Anybody that hasn't seen Detroiters should watch that as well. It's really good. Very similar style. I think you would appreciate it a lot. Yeah, this movie was just so good. This will have a director commentary on it. The DP is also on the commentary. Conor O'Malley's on it. It's got some deleted scenes. There's an extended Q&A from Men Talking in the Dark. Conor O'Malley extended garage scene. I believe they said it was 14 minutes long on the disc, which is wild. And then they've got 6 collectible postcards. That being said, I don't love what A24 is doing with their releases lately. I feel like they could give so much more to these films. I'm glad that they're sort of doing it themselves and got their own unique style and all that. But man, the supplemental features could be better, and we don't need the postcards. Save the money on the postcards and do either nothing and save, I don't know, drop the price by $2. But just we don't need 6 cards from Friendship. Come on. Let's see. Everybody's happy. Friendship's a movie that I enjoyed in the moment, but I don't think it worked for me as well as many of its fans, says Terry. Yeah, I think you really got to be all in on that cringe humor to be super thrilled with it. I have never seen this, but man, what I've read this week is making me dying to see it.
Yeah,
August.
I've always wanted to see this one and never have either.
It looks so good. August 26th, Studio Canal over in the UK giving us a Blu-ray of Fresh from 1994. This is a movie starring Giancarlo Esposito, Samuel L. Jackson. We've got brand new interviews with some people from the film, quite a few brand new interviews, actually, and then some archival pieces. And again, don't know. I've never seen this. Heard it's great and dying to see it. Very, very eager. Brian says Fresh is very good. First saw it on Laserdisc. Imprint also did this one, I think. Imprint did?
Yeah, I have the imprint.
No way. Interesting. I don't remember that at all. Music Box Films on June 24th, which, for the record, is only in 12 days. Very quick announcement here. They're releasing EFIS from this year, which I had heard was getting a release, but I don't think this played anywhere near me. This is supposed to be pretty good. This says, as an imminent construction project looms over their beloved baseball field, two New England recreational teams play ball for the last time. As day turns into night and innings bleed together, the players chat, laugh, and squabble as they face the uncertainty of a new era. Named for a rare curveball, Carson Lund's poignant comedies and ode to sports, community, and the passage of time. And I really want to check this one out. The trailer for this looked really good.
I've heard from people who have seen it at different film festivals that it is really good.
Nice. Very nice. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, so we won't spend a lot of time here, but August 12th, Kino is doing that standalone release of 1949's The Great Gatsby. It's got all the same extras as will be on the disc that's coming in their film noir box set. I think that one's in number 27, 26 or 27. Good Lord, they've done so many box sets. But yeah,
so that is the same one as this.
Exact same disc. So if you're planning on getting the box set, you don't need to worry about getting this as well.
I'm in for the last 25, so I guess I gotta keep.
You got to stop now, please. I draw the line at 25 film noir.
I never, when I started collecting them at the beginning, I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that they would keep going. And now I'm stuck.
And I know that we've joked about this every time, but now that they are so close to the 30th one, they have to do something silly with box XXX, right? Like you have to do like a box of neo-noir erotic thrillers or something. Please make it work. Speaking of Kino, August 12th, they're giving us a Blu-ray of Save the Tiger from 1973. This one was also released by Imprint. Speaking of how we just talked about that, this one will have the audio commentary with the director and the writer-producer. We'll also have a new audio commentary with Dwayne Epstein. Nothing else on this but those two audio commentaries, but this one should be available pretty cheap. And I believe this is the first Blu-ray release of this in the States, if I remember right. So pretty exciting for people that love this movie. And Jack Lemmon, the dude's always great.
Yeah, this is one that I've always wanted to see. And did Imprint do a Jack Lemmon box set?
I don't think so.
No, okay. I feel like I don't think so either. But because I thought that I had this, but maybe I never got it from Imprint. But so if I don't, I'll get this one.
Ooh, it says out of stock on the Imprint site, so this one might be out of print from them.
Okay.
Oh, and they also, that's right, they did The Odd Couple as well, which is the other big Jack Lemmon thing. There you go. Paul from Australia says Imprint has not done a Jack Lemmon set. Thanks.
Okay.
Next, another Kino title, August 12th. They are doing a Pre-Code Classics double feature set. This will include Confessions of a Co-ed and Ladies of the Big House, both from 1931. This is going to have a new audio commentary with David Del Valle and Stan Schaefer, and that's on both films, so that's pretty cool. I like this idea that they're doing some pre-code sets. Probably the only way that we would get some of these released. They're a lot of times they're not even like a full hour long, and to be able to get this released like this, you sort of got to do something to cut some cost. And so I get that. I'm glad that they're doing an audio commentary on both sets. But yeah, this is pretty cool. And eventually I will probably pick this up. Pre-code stuff. Give us more. Next. Shameless over in the UK is putting out What Have They Done to Your Daughters from 1974. This is coming on July 7th. There are at least one new feature, I believe. Yes, I don't think everything else is new, but this says the unused hardcore footage from Enigma. Editor Siciliano reveals all, and they really hype it up here. It says this edition also includes a frank interview with the film editor Antonio Siciliano, Dallamano's longtime friend and collaborator, who crafted the final cut of Daughters. He finally addresses the long-standing rumors about the film's unused additional material, which that alone entices me. I don't think that was on the Arrow release, which is sort of compelling. And honestly, kudos to Shameless. This is the first time I've seen the Shameless announcement and gone, wow, I kind of want that.
Yeah, I have the Arrow of this. This is a great giallo. Yeah, I'm a really big fan of this, and sort of the pseudo sequel. What have they done to Solange?
Yep.
Which it actually makes me curious if they're going to be doing that one next.
That would be possible. I believe both have gone out of print from Arrow a long time ago. Those were pretty early releases.
But yeah, they're both definitely worth seeing.
For sure. Then we got some Radiance announcements. These are all coming in September. We'll talk about the dates and where they're coming out from. The first one is a UK specific title. This is coming on September 15th on 4K or Blu-ray. This got a Severin restoration, was just released in the States by Severin, and that is In My Skin from 2002. This is one of the first new French extremity movement titles that everybody associates with it. However, this has all kinds of new bonus features. We got a lot of new interviews, 2 short student films that are not on. I think the shorts are on the student or on the Severin release, but a lot of the interviews are not. This has newly improved English subs. There is, of course, a limited booklet with new writing in there. Radiance just putting out beautiful looking sets, and I know for a lot of people that may have just recently got the Severin, this has got to be frustrating because this is probably quite appealing.
I got the Severin. I haven't watched it yet, but maybe I'll do that soon. And if I love it, maybe I'll consider getting this one as well. But we'll see.
Yeah, and that's the big question with a lot of these titles. You don't necessarily need to double dip, but wanting to double dip, yeah, it's got to be.
It's just so hard when you see that they've put so much work into adding, the new special features. Like, it's hard to sometimes.
Well, and like Corinne said, the artwork alone on Radiant stuff is like, damn, you could frame every single cover that they've done.
This is gorgeous. Yeah.
That being said, the Severin split case slipcover thing they did, pretty nice too. Next up, this is UK only, so not US, from Radiant. September 15th, World Noir Volume 4 box set. This is going to include in it, we've got Henry de... that's probably the wrong way to say that. It's probably Henri de Croix, something like that. Chenouf from 1955. Definitely not French. I apologize. Edouard Molinaro's Back Against the Wall from 1958, and Marcel Bluwall's Paris Pickup from 1962. This has 2K restorations on each film. We've got new artwork, newly improved English subs, limited 80-page perfect bound book with a bunch of writing in it. Commentaries on these are archival. We got an archival interview on the first title as well. New visual essay, new commentaries, one from Daniel Kramer, one from Tim Lucas. Not necessarily stuffed to the gills, but getting 3 of these titles together, I know, is the way that they're making it worth it for a lot of people. Again, the box looks gorgeous. So if you like art and that is something that you make choices with, you gotta kind of adore Radiance because it's all great. Have you been? I think you've gotten quite a bit from Radiance, right?
Yeah, I've gotten, but I didn't start collecting these World Noir sets. I'm too busy collecting the Kino Noir sets, even though these are probably better. These are probably
Dustin, never admit that.
these are probably actual noir titles.
Yeah, I get it. And these, I mean, Kino will give you 3 titles for $25. This will end up being like 45. I get it.
But it definitely, it looks good. Maybe one day I'll splurge and get them all.
after they're out of print and cost 3 times as much. Next up, September 15th in the UK and September 16th in North America. The next Radiance title is a Blu-ray of Los Golfos from 1962. This is a group of poor youths tear around Madrid pulling scams and petty crimes. As one of their gang prepares to perform in a serious bullfighting competition, they plan a heist that will raise the money to finance his entry, breaking with tradition by filming in the streets and utilizing documentary techniques to give the film an urgent resonance. Carlos Sora and producer Pere Portobello were announced as a powerful new force in Spanish cinema when the film was nominated for the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Festival. And this is restored in 4K. You've got all kinds of stuff on this disc. There is a really, really crazy amount here. We got an intro by the author and former director of Filmoteca Catalunya, Esteve Riambo from 2025. Bunch of new interviews, scenes affected by censorship and presented alongside notes from the censorship committee. That alone is such a really interesting thing. 2 early short films by Sora as well. Reversible sleeve as usual, and then a booklet with writing. This to me seems like one that I'm probably going to have to pick up. I don't have a lot from Spain, and this is just a really great sounding, interesting piece of filmmaking. I don't know how else to say it. This looks like a must for me.
Yeah, this is the sort of thing I had never heard of before this announcement, but it just sounds good.
I feel like I've heard of maybe 10% of Radiance's stuff before they announce it. Yeah. Next is The Betrayal from 1966, also from Radiance. Also September 15th in the UK and September 16th in North America. This one is another one of their Asian titles. Again, beautiful looking cover art as usual. Select scene audio commentary by Tom Mess, which is interesting to get a select scene commentary. I'm very curious why on that, because Tom Mess usually has a lot to talk about. We got a visual essay by Philip Kemp on this. We got a visual essay by Tom Mess on the director, Tokuzo Tanaka, and then a booklet with new writing by Elaine Silver, limited to 3,000 copies over in the UK. Next up, Third Window Films, also from the UK, putting out another one of their box sets. They haven't done one of these in quite a while. This is coming on July 28th on Blu-ray, and I am going to absolutely butcher this name, so I apologize in advance. I'm going to say it's Zoltan Husharik, something like that. That is probably very incorrect, but it's called Sinbad, Constavery, and then 5 short films. So this is going to be a 3 Blu-ray box set. You've got the feature film from 1971, another feature film from 79, and then 5 short films to make it a complete full box set. On top of that, you've got new 4K restorations of the features, and then some 4K scans of some of the shorts, an HD transfer on one of them, and then some appreciations. One that I am incredibly interested in seeing. Peter Strickland speaks on the vision of these, and if you've never watched a Peter Strickland film, please do. One of the best modern filmmakers. Lots of other stuff that's coming on here. Not Third Window. They're another great company. Second run DVD over in the UK. This is region free. They always are, but they put so much love into their work, and they don't get a lot of attention worldwide. Check it out. It is really, really interesting to see stuff like this happening. Yeah. Second run. Check them out, please. This one is super cool. August 12th in the US, Raro is releasing The Medium from 1980. As usual, going through Kino Lorber distribution. This is an insidiously creepy supernatural horror film from the director Silvio Amadio. Following the death of his wife, an American music composer moves to an old mansion in Rome with his young son. They are soon haunted by a series of inexplicable events, causing them to hire a medium to divine the true nature of their seemingly cursed existence. We got an audio commentary by the hosts of the Wild Wild podcast, Adrian Smith and Rod Barnett. And Raro does some great stuff when they finally come out. Yeah, I mean, the cover alone makes me excited about this. The story sounds great. Very intrigued by this. Oh, look at this. Tyler's helping me out. I think SZ makes a Z sound like in Lizard. ZS makes a ZH sound like the GE in Garage. So in other words, I was very wrong.
It sounded good to me.
The Little Things from 2021 is getting a 4K release from Warner Brothers. This is a mod 4K release that should not scare you. Just want people to know that they are able to do this. So this is made on demand. It's not burned. It is still a pressed disc. They just make it literally as it's ordered, essentially, which is crazy. But this is a Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, and nobody else starring in this movie. Did you see The Little Things when it came out?
I did. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I was really excited with this announcement. I thought this was a great movie.
Wow. The only other thing I've ever heard people say about it is this movie was truly boring.
Oh, I mean, I was riveted by it. I mean, but maybe I'm on a different wavelength than they are. But I thought it reminded me of, I mean, it's fictional, so obviously, it's but it reminded me, it's about a serial killer, true crime investigation. It reminded me a lot of Zodiac in a way. Not But again, it is fictional. It's not, based on a true story. And I wouldn't say obviously it's as good as Zodiac is, but I did really enjoy it. And the thing that I most remember about it, that really sticks with me, the opening scene is genuinely terrifying. It's set in 1990, and there's like a teenage girl who's driving down, this desolate desert highway and at night, and she starts to get followed by somebody, and it basically turns into a sort of cat and mouse game between the two of them, and they use the B-52's song Rome, and they use it, it's such an upbeat song, but they use it in a way that just is really chilling. And yeah, I just thought it was so well done. So that's what really sticks with me.
I mean, I will want to see anything with Denzel Washington. Just period. He's literally one of the best actors of all time. For some reason, when this came out, I had not even heard of it. So I'm curious to see this. Yeah,
it was definitely one of those that sort of got lost in the shuffle during COVID, because it came out in 2021, I believe.
nice. All right. After The Little Things, we've got some details on Final Destination Bloodlines. This is coming on July 22nd on 4K. It's got a standard 4K release, a Steelbook 4K release, and then a Blu-ray release and a DVD release. Thanks, Warner Brothers, for putting that on DVD still. This title is going to have Dolby Vision, HDR. We've got Dolby Atmos. We got an audio commentary from the director, which is pretty cool. Death becomes them on the set of Final Destination Bloodlines, catching up with the new cast and the dynamic directing duo to hear about their experiences on set and what they managed to sneak in for the fans. The many deaths of Bloodlines, from the collapse of the Skyview restaurant to the worst MRI. There's a behind the scenes about all of the deaths in the movie. But the really cool thing is they got a special little legacy featurette on Tony Todd, reflecting on his decade-spanning legacy of his character here. And he re-examines Bloodworth's impact on the franchise now that everything has been revealed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, pretty damn cool. And to get the last special feature with Tony Todd, I feel like I kind of have to get this. Plus, it was a great movie. I'm very stoked to own this.
I really liked this one. I think it might be my second favorite, honestly.
Yeah, it's up there for me. It's either favorite or second favorite at this point, probably. But if you haven't got enough of Final Destination, on the same day, they are releasing, of course, like they always do, a 6-film collection. Each of the movies will have special features, which is rather cool. This will likely not have the 3D discs. This will probably be the exact same as the last Blu-ray collection that they did, with the addition of the 6th film, of course. That being said, this has been the funniest. It was Jason's favorite too. Nice. This has been the probably second favorite part of my week this week, is arguing with people who think that Warner Brothers will be releasing a full franchise Final Destination 4K release in just a few months after everybody buys this. They won't. There's no way that they release a full franchise 4K set of this. a couple of these were not filmed in a way that will work on 4K, and nobody is going back to like the Final Destination and getting all of this the really awful CGI and putting that in a way that will look good on 4K. It's just not going to happen. I could see them doing maybe up to the first 3 on 4K, considering that those 3 were shot on film. But that's if even that, I probably only really see them doing the first one on 4K. Probably nothing else. Yeah.
Well, you've just broken my heart. because I was gonna be one of those people and chime in. I was gonna say I saved my one complaint about 4K for this because I was just like, I want a 4K set of all of them.
I mean, believe me, I wouldn't mind having them either. I love the movies. Genuinely a really fun franchise. I don't think they're great movies, but it is something that you just can't put certain things on 4K and make it make sense. Sure.
I mean, I still wouldn't say, never say never. Like I feel like there's still a possibility that down the road at some point there could be. But
I think they would have to put out like 1,500 other titles before they even get to that. Literally like 1,500 other titles.
You don't think that I know it's Warner Brothers, but you don't think that they would ever like like a boutique label take it over or something?
I mean, if they started being more open to that, sure. But like Final Destination still is something that is active. And
that's true.
With how much money they just made, there's likely going to be another sequel in the next 3 years at this point, because they're still printing checks for the next 6 months. I would have loved somebody like this would have made a really great Scream Factory, probably Blu-ray box set, maybe like 4K of the first 3, then a Blu-ray of the 4 and 5. But this is something that's.
I mean, I would even take like just new transfers, even if it wasn't a Blu-ray. Like,
yeah.
But this is probably just the old, versions from, when they first came to Blu-ray in like 2010 or whatever it was.
Yeah, I would agree there. Yeah, would be all about that. Okay, so I said we were going to talk about found footage. I got a really cool opportunity to be on the show called CinemaScope, which is over on True Story FM and Next Reel. It's a part of another podcast network. And we talked about the history of found footage. Went all deep into like, obviously Cannibal Holocaust. You got to spend a lot of time on that. How found footage evolved over the last however many years. The impact of some of these in like pop culture overall and how it affected filmmaking. And the like primal fears that found footage is able to grab onto. Check it out. Go look up CinemaScope. Andy does some really great work, and it's a super fun episode.
Oh, thank you, Corinne. Yeah, I just.
I love your light.
Well, I actually listened to that today at work.
Oh, amazing! What'd you think?
And I subscribed to it instantly after I listened to it because it was a great episode.
Yeah.
And it was a fascinating conversation about found footage. I would definitely chime in and recommend that for anybody who's interested.
It's really good. And over on like his membership thing, there's even a bonus episode that comes with it. But if you're a member of my Patreon, you're getting that bonus episode as part of that tomorrow. You'll be getting that in the emails. So check out that when it comes through. It is a really, really fun show. Specifically, actually recommend the episode on blaxploitation. Really great discussion on that. Now, we don't have a release date for it, but soon we are getting this 4K steelbook of Clown in a Cornfield that just came out earlier this year. This one is coming from Shudder and RLJE. You got a commentary with the director, Eli Craig, the author of the book that this is based on, Adam Caesar, and then a couple of the actors. Dustin, what do you think of Clown in a Cornfield?
I was a big fan of it.
Nice.
And yeah, I had read the novel prior to it, and I thought it was it was a fairly faithful adaptation of it, and I was really pleased with what they did with it. And yeah, the things that were maybe a little bit more obvious as far as sort of like the politics within the novel, they sort of did it in a way where it wasn't so broad for film. So I thought it worked really well. And I thought it was a smart adaptation of it. And yeah, I love that they're doing a 4K of this, and yeah, I don't collect a lot of steelbooks, but this one is good enough that I think I might have to have it.
I just hope that they also do a standard. I know a lot of people hate steelbooks, and people should have the option for
Oh,
sure.
definitely. Yeah.
All right, not many left. Next, Arrow today delayed The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly 4K. They say due to some extended production delays, we've made the decision to delay our upcoming UK release. It will now be released on August 11th, and they just want it to be done right, which I'd much rather Arrow delay it rather than put out a replacement program and not send anybody discs. So yeah, check out that. I will say, I believe Jesse from Diabolic has been pointing out that the first two, or the very first in the trilogy, is officially like fully out of print already, and the second one is about to be. So if you were wanting to go after these and you find them, check it out. That is something that you might want to get sooner than later. Craig says happy to wait, but haven't they delayed each one now? No, only 2 out of 3 were delayed.
And I will say, if anybody's in the same boat as me, I asked Jesse about this because I had pre-ordered all 3 of them together, because I just figured I'm not going to watch one without the other 2, and I can get free shipping with it. So I just wanted to make sure that, because they said that they were out of print with the first 1 or 2 of them, that, if you ordered them all together, that we're still going to get them. And
Of course,
he confirmed that we will. So
yep, they are sitting there taking up space in his warehouse as we speak. Indicator had a couple announcements today. September 22nd, over in the UK, they're putting out a 4K and a Blu-ray limited edition of Death Carries a Cane from 1973. Rather stylish giallo that a lot of people love. I don't think I've seen this one, but this got a brand new 4K HDR restoration by Indicator themselves. You got 2 different versions of the film, the Italian language and the English language version. You got audio commentary that was released last year with Eugenio Riccolani, Troy Howarth, and Nathaniel Thompson. There is a bunch of archival extras on here, and then Eugenio Riccolani talks about Maurizio Prado from 2025. Brand new interview with him. Ryan says, damn me, now I have to buy a few dollars more tonight. I'm sorry. Yes.
Oh yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. This is in the Forgotten Gialli Volume 6 set, and I recently, earlier in the year, I went, because I had collected them but hadn't watched any of them, so I went through and watched all of the box sets, and this one is actually one of the better ones, I thought. The killer uses a cane, obviously from the title, but it's sort of funny because it's a whodunit and there's so many people limping through the movie.
That's pretty great. Yeah, it'd be really funny if the killer didn't carry a cane and that was the title. Yeah, I don't know. This is one of those, like, it just got a release recently. Were people desperate to get this on 4K in a standalone limited release? Maybe, I don't know. I
really like the Powerhouse 4Ks, or the Indicator, the 4Ks that they're doing.
Agreed.
And it's just I just can't do this one because I've got the other set.
To be paired with it, they've got the 1974 film, The Perfume of the Lady in Black, also coming out on September 22nd, also in 4K and also on Blu-ray. This is the Mimsy Farmer starring 1974 film. Brand new 4K HDR restoration. They've got 2 versions, of course. They've got the Italian language and the English language version. Brand new commentary with Eugenio and Troy. New interview with the director. Some archival extras on here. And then Lovely John talking about the score of this one. There's a brand new locations featurette that I believe Eugenio did. That's probably really great. And yeah, this is one that is a little more interesting to me. I think I saw this one a handful of years ago, but don't remember a lot about it.
Yeah, this one I am picking up.
Lovely color too. Not color, cover. That's the word. Really like the way they made that look for sure. Then some Kino stuff. This is what got a lot of people excited near the end of the day. This first one is Huckleberry Finn from 1931, coming on Blu-ray on August 19th. I got a new audio commentary with Julie Kurgo and Peter Hinkoff. Know nothing about this. Probably not my style of film, really. But man, some of these other ones go pretty hard. Next one that I just skipped, of course. We're going to talk about this one in a second. Don't get too excited. August 19th, 4K release of what many people hail as a masterpiece and many others hail as the worst movie ever made. 1980s Xanadu, starring Olivia Newton-John and Gene Kelly. Kino, in setting this release up, commissioned 4 brand new audio commentaries. The first one with the director Robert Greenwald, moderated by Douglas Hogsdale. The second one by Jennifer Clymer and Nathaniel Thompson. The third one by David Del Valle and Christoph Charles. And the fourth and final one with Sam Deegan. On top of that, if you go look at the Blu-ray disc, they've also got some archival stuff, including 17 radio spots about Xanadu. 17 radio spots. There's a 2009 documentary that's almost half an hour long with the cast and crew. There's a making of from 1980 that's brand newly remastered in 2K. There's so much in this release. Tell me about Xanadu, Dustin. Is this one that you've seen and are a fan of?
I am. I mean, it's very, very cheesy.
Yes.
But very, very fun. And I'm totally going to get this. I mean, those 4 commentaries alone would ensure that I am going to get this. Yeah. I'm curious what the 4K transfer will look like, because it's one of those movies from the 70s that has a very sort of like hazy, gauzy look to it in a way. Sort of like Carrie. But Carrie looked beautiful in 4K, so hopefully this will too.
Man, this is crazy that we're getting Xanadu not only in 4K, but 4 new commentaries. That's a big deal. Pretty cool. I admittedly have not seen Xanadu since I was too young to appreciate it, guaranteed. But very curious to see this again. I don't know about blind buying a 4K, but we'll see. Corinne, have a good night. Hope you're well.
Good night, Corinne.
All those ELO songs probably needed a promo push, says Terry. Colton says, grew up in a house of women that love Xanadu. So excited for this. Yeah, this has made a lot of people happy. I agree, Ronnie.
I mean, the soundtrack is the reason to get it. Like, it's just so many good songs.
Yeah, this is a big deal. Big deal. Then the next one that made a lot of people excited. Repossessed is coming on August 19th. This is the Linda Blair, Ned Beatty, Leslie Nielsen film. This gets a trailer as a special feature and a new audio commentary by the director, Bob Logan. But this is the second film in a row that many people call the worst movie ever made. Repossessed, have you seen this one?
Oh, yes. Yeah, this is definitely a movie from my childhood. I'm curious to watch it now because it's been so long since I've seen it, but I watched it enough back then that like I still like regularly quote it.
Yeah.
But what's funny is Kino takes so long to release their stuff that I swear this was originally announced on my last appearance on the show back in September.
That's it was a long time ago that we first talked about Repossessed. And not to mention, this has been, oh gosh, I think this had a German Blu-ray release on MediaBook that has more bonus features. And then I think that somebody else had teased that they had got this, and then that was canceled and Kino ended up getting it. This has been a long time coming and so many people wanting this. The only thing I will say that really makes me kind of turned off by this, yes, it sucks that there's only an audio commentary, but this is a really old, dated HD transfer. This is not getting like a new 2K master, new 4K, anything. This thing is an old HD master, and I fear this is not going to look great on Blu-ray no matter what, and a lot of people are going to be disappointed. That being said, it's on Blu-ray. A lot of people will be happy pretty much no matter what.
And Patrick is right. I do sing your theme song based on this.
Based on this? Interesting. Very funny. I also love this comment. Ryan says, "No way I'm buying Xanadu," outside of a sale. Next is The Farmer's Daughter with Martha Raye. Not many Martha Raye titles have been released on Blu-ray, so this is good to see. This is from 1940, coming on August 12th on Blu-ray. We got an audio commentary by Farron Smith Name. Yeah, I don't know much about the movie, but pretty damn cool of Kino. And then Via Vision closing up our week with a couple of announcements. First up, we've got a 4K release of Point Break from 1991 coming to Australia on August 27th. Yes, this has been released on 4K in the US by Shout Factory. It also got released, I think, in Germany or the UK by another company. Two very different scans. But the big thing is this has a load of new special features. And if you love Point Break, and who doesn't, because it's a masterpiece. This has a new audio commentary by Patrick Bromley, who's great at what he does. This also has a new interview with John C. McGinley, new interview with Lori Petty, new interview with the Surfer Gang, and then a whole bunch of archival featurettes. This is a much more loaded release than the Shout Factory release. On top of that, if you are an audiophile, this is the first time, I think, since the original release that this is including the original 4.0 surround sound, which is not a common way to release films. 4.0 stuff usually doesn't get ported over to physical media. And so this is a pretty big selling point for a lot. Point Break is genuinely a masterpiece. How do you feel about this?
Oh, it's so fun. I mean, it's a quintessential 90s movie. It's just... And I mean, yeah, you've got Catherine Bigelow, you've got Keanu Reeves, Patrick Swayze, you've got bank robberies and
prime Gary Busey.
And yeah, I mean, what's not to like about it?
Yeah, I agree. And then finally, 4K release on the same day, August 27th, of Rain Man from 1988. I failed to mention on the last one that it will be in a 4K lenticular hard box release like they do over at Via Vision. Same with this one. This one has 3 audio commentaries on the disc. None of them are new. I believe they were all on the other releases, like the 4K release that came out in the States. You got some archival featurettes on the Blu-ray, but I got a booklet with this and everything. Good movie, not the best movie. Odd for representation, but yeah,
a little bit outdated, but in some of its portrayals of autism.
Yeah. On that note, that is the last of the week. So let's discuss what's coming out next week, in case you forgot. First, we got the Looney Tunes Collector's Vault Volume 1 from Warner Archive, Sabrina 4K from Kino Lorber, the 2 Jurassic Park Trilogy 4K Steelbooks coming out, Deep Star 6 4K from Kino, Midnight from Criterion, the All of Me Vestron release that is stuck at the Lionsgate Limited site. I believe that is already shipping to some people. The new 50th anniversary Jaws Steelbook with that documentary attached is coming out. Murder, She Wrote, the complete series on Blu-ray, finally. All 62 discs of it is coming out next week. Way of the Gun 4K, also a Lionsgate Limited title. Different Man from A24, I, Madman, and Law and Order from Kino Lorber, Thelonious Monk, Straight No Chaser from Criterion, Sands of the Kalahari, one of the best cover arts ever. It's coming from Kino. The Rad release from Mill Creek, that will also have that brand new documentary attached to it. The Assessment from last year, which I've not seen, but I've heard pretty good things about. One of my most anticipated from next week, The Annihilation of Fish. We'll definitely be getting that from Milestone eventually. A couple from Eureka, Hong Kong 1941, and then Exact Revenge with the Eunuch and the Deadly Knives. Promise or Anything and Rock Pretty Baby from Kino. Gary Cooper 4 Film Collection from Warner Archive. And that is it for next week. How many of these you already got or got on the way there, Dustin?
Well, I'm definitely getting Sabrina the 4K. That's gonna look beautiful. And even though I just got done saying I don't collect steelbooks, like both of those Jurassic Park steelbooks look so good to me that against my better judgment, because I already have them on, I really don't need it, but I just don't know how to pass them up.
Yeah.
And yeah, all of me has already shipped for me, so that's one that
Nice.
I've always wanted to see, and I've never seen it, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, there's not been many chances to see it, so it's nice to see it getting some love.
And yeah, A Different Man is excellent. So I'm glad.
Loved that movie.
Yeah,
Gary is asking, Murder She Wrote has 62 discs. Yes, 62 Blu-ray discs in Murder She Wrote, and uh, genuinely can't wait to have it. I will watch every single moment.
I rarely. So I rarely buy, standard def DVDs of anything these days. And last year, I
Oh,
bought the Murder She Wrote complete series on DVD because I was like, that's never gonna get a Blu-ray
yeah.
release.
To be fair, most people have said Murder She Wrote will never ever get a Blu-ray release, and here we are, 62 discs later.
And now I'm kicking myself because oh no.
And honestly, like I get upset with pricing a lot on a lot of things. Murder She Wrote retail, I think, was 150, and some places like Orbit had it for like 130. For 62 discs, that's not that bad.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's a good price.
Yeah, so that's it for next week. Stoked on that. Yeah, Jaden's pointing out we're getting a Larry Cohen set announced by Shout Factory tomorrow. Very curious to see what's going to be
Ooh.
on that. We got imprint stuff getting announced tonight. Criterion stuff coming up in just a couple days. It's going to be a busy week. It usually is, but it seems pretty damn exciting for sure. I a lot happening. That is the biggest thing I'll say is there is so much happening in physical media. It's hard to keep up with. Glad everybody's here to hang out and discuss it every week, though. Dustin, let's discuss some sequels. How do you feel about sequels overall?
Well, yeah. So when I was trying to come up with a topic for us this week, specifically I was thinking underappreciated sequels. And what I found as I was going through it was, I feel like I'm, a champion of sequels because I feel like there's a lot that people don't appreciate about them, and those are often the ones that I like the most. Yeah, because as I was going through it, I was like, well, I like that, I like that. Um, and yeah, I feel like they're more. Yeah, I feel like they tend to be more divisive because most of the time, if a movie is getting a sequel, it's because the first one was obviously successful and
Right.
people liked it generally. And then when you get into the sequel, I think, yeah, like I said, they tend to split opinions more. And then, yeah, there's certain ones that, yeah, people either hate or as time passes, I feel like the tide sort of turns on the opinion of them. And then
Yeah.
I think there's some tonight that we'll be talking about that I feel like are maybe thought of a little bit more positively today than they used to be. But then there's others that I feel like will be thought of more positively, a few decades from now.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very mixed on these. I think that sequels obviously work with cult titles specifically really well. Um, a lot of drama stuff generally is kind of odd to get a sequel, but sometimes when they do, they can be masterpieces, and that's a different thing. Like, I don't know about you. I hope I'm not spoiling something that you're going to talk about because the whole thing is very much highly lauded. But like the Before trilogy, it's one that a lot of people probably would not have expected to get what it got, specifically the overtime sort of release style, but all of the films are masterpieces in their own right and done very well, but you don't see that a lot. Like horror franchise, sure, that's something that we can expect to see, but I love seeing stuff like the Before trilogy that just comes out of nowhere and surprises you. Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about this tonight, and specifically underappreciated things. This is one of those things where, first off, there will likely be some controversy at
Oh
some
yeah,
point because both of us, I guarantee, have a title that most people think is bad, just specifically bad, that we both really love. But in all reality, so much of this is just I really like championing things that don't get enough attention.
yeah.
And I again, I don't mind. You heard me earlier tonight. I don't mind saying something is bad, but it's so much more fun to talk about something that you're passionate about. And all of my five specifically that we're going to discuss, I feel like I talk about for hours because I love them so goddamn much. So I'm very excited for this. Very curious to see what you're picking because Dustin is huge into horror. For everybody that doesn't know, we obviously talked about how he wrote the book The Fright File, but the fact that we're just doing all genres, you could have picked anything under the sun, and I'm so curious. So let's do it. What is the first one that you're going to bring up tonight?
Yeah, I will say, yeah, I'll say that. So I've got five that we're mainly going to talk about, and then some honorable mentions. But out of the five, three are definitely horror, and then the one is like adjacent, but I really wouldn't consider it horror. And then the other one's definitely not.
That is kind of exactly my share too. I've got three that are basically horror, one that is sort of at least very cult, and then one that is clearly not horror.
And I also feel like, yeah, when you say something's underappreciated, I feel like that's subjective as well. So I feel, yeah, I think things will be controversial, especially like if people really hate something that I like. But oh
yeah,
well, hear me out.
I know that people hate at least two and maybe three of mine, so very stoked to get into this.
All right, so you want me to go first?
Go right ahead, yeah.
So the first that I have is the horror adjacent one. Oh, and I'm doing them in order of release because I couldn't like really rank them in any way. So this one is from 1981, and yeah, I absolutely love this movie. I think it's actually better than the original, and I love the original, but I don't think there's that many people who think this is superior, but I'll stand by it all day. And it is Shock Treatment.
For some reason, I knew that you were going to talk about this one tonight. I'm glad. This is cool.
So yeah, if you don't know, this is it's a I would say it's a loose sequel to Rocky Horror Picture Show. It follows the characters that were originally played by Susan Sarandon and Barry Bostwick. And when it came time to make the sequel to it, Tim Curry didn't have any interest in coming back for his character. And yeah, Barry Bostwick and Susan Sarandon really, I think they were too popular by that point and they were asking for too much money. So they recast them with Cliff DeYoung and Jessica Harper from Suspiria.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably my favorite performance from her.
Oh yeah.
But I just think the music in this movie, like, so I rewatched it about a week ago, and I haven't stopped singing the songs since I saw it. Now, granted, I knew the songs before because I've seen this movie a lot, but like I can't get them out of my head, and I don't really want to. They're just so good, and I feel like because they haven't been, they're not as well known as the Rocky Horror Picture Show songs. But I think that adds a freshness to it. But they were done by the music and lyrics were done by Richard O'Brien, who did the music for Rocky Horror. And I just find the whole film just so fascinating. It's so ahead of its time in a way. It's all so the entire film is set in this middle America small town called Denton, USA. But the whole thing takes place in a TV studio, which is like a microcosm for the town. And it's just so fascinating. And yeah, the Brad and Janet characters show up there in the audience, and then they get swept into, well, just a lot of craziness. And but it's thoroughly unpredictable. It's original. Like people watching the Rocky Horror Picture Show, like if they thought of what a sequel would be, it would not be this at all. But a lot of the other actors from the film, from the original film, do come back playing different characters, and I think one actually does play the same character. But yeah, I just unequivocally love this movie. I think it's beautifully shot. It opens with this extended one shot of like the studio where it's introducing all of the characters, and it's just so inventive. and just it's and then from there it just goes. So I really love this one.
I'm very sad that there's no US release of this for people to be able to see it. The Arrow release has been very out of print for quite some time now. Um, yeah, this is a really great choice.
And I will say this was like getting this down from my shelf again, it just like broke my heart all over again because this was awful. Like the packaging of this is terrible.
It's
It's
so
so
bad.
it's so flimsy. And like and this actually it was like this when it came, but there's like a crease down the side,
Oh,
and
jeez.
it's just it needs a better release. Even though I'm happy that we have this at least,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize that it was out of print. But yeah, I mean, you would have thought that they would have at least done a reissue with better packaging.
Yeah. Funny enough, my first one has a little something in common. It's a bit of a musical, kind of. This is one that is probably going to make a lot of people laugh, and actually, sort of got a reference early in the show, which a few of the things that we're going to be discussing tonight sort of did. That I'm stoked to talk on. This one is a film that came out all the way back in 1991. This is a sequel that was put out associated with Spielberg as part of Amblimation. This is, of course, An American Tale, Fievel Goes West. Now, I know that seems silly, but good Lord, is this movie amazing. We talked about Don Bluth earlier. Don Bluth was a master animator that did something incredibly special for years and years. And he's not even associated with the second film at all. And yet, as much as An American Tale is great, which it basically tells the story of what we find out is essentially like a Jewish immigrant family coming to the U.S., told with mice for some reason. And it's a beautiful, poignant, harrowing tale that is animated beautifully. It's a just masterwork from Don Bluth. This second movie just takes it and dials up the charm and still gives some of that like craziness. The poignancy is still there. The ability to like dive into these characters. You still get the entire Mouskowitz family. Fievel's incredible. I truly love everything about this movie. The music is great. The animation is like genuinely very cute in every single thing that they do. I mean the characters in this movie, the cats that you see, the hound dog, the everything is just, I don't know, it's something that is so specifically this very Don Bluth style, and it's just beautiful. I know a lot of people really like the first one, but for some reason it wasn't as popular because it wasn't Don Bluth. But Fievel Goes West, or An American Tale, Fievel Goes West, this movie is great and everybody should watch it. Just devastating storylines in both movies. Love this movie. Yeah, Fievel Goes West, 1991.
I gotta watch this. Okay, so I have never seen it, and I love the original American Tale. Like the original, that was one of my favorite films growing up as a kid. Like I just loved it so much. And when the sequel came out, I feel like I rented it and I started watching it, and because I was so used to the first one, I was like, this isn't that. I think it threw me off because it's more of like a Western, right?
Yeah, very much so.
So like and so I think it threw me off, and then like I just turned it off. Of course, I was like 10. I was probably just I was a dumb kid. So I feel like I would really appreciate it now. But the thing that whenever I think about this movie, the thing that always comes to me is in middle school, I think I was in 7th grade in choir, and we sang as in our program, Dreams to Dream, the song. And so I remember that song, but not the movie.
Please seek it out. I think you will like it, especially knowing what you said about Don Bluth earlier. It is.
Well, I had no idea that it had like a like a serious storyline. I don't know. I just always thought the first one is about immigrants and this and that.
Right.
And the second one, I just thought it was like, I don't know. I had just assumed it was like just a sillier sequel.
I mean, it is sillier than the first one, but it's slightly more Disney-fied in a way, which I can see that being a bad thing. But mixing that with Don Bluth characters and that heart is kind of like the perfect balance of exactly what it needed. Ryan Callan was not expecting some hardcore Fievel talk today.
And
I love this movie.
Is it a musical like the original?
Yes, probably somewhere around the same number of songs.
Okay.
It's got at least 3 like really memorable musical points.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out now.
Nice. Can't wait to see what you say.
All right, the second one is for me. It's the non-horror one. Although people who don't like it might think of it as being horrific, but please bear with me. I love this movie so much. And once again, I think it's better than the original. And there is a very passionate cult for this movie, so I can't be alone. So 1982, it's another musical, and it is Grease 2.
I was about to say it. Oh man, Grease 2. Wow.
Have you seen Grease 2?
I grew up in a Grease worshiping home. My sister was addicted to Grease for like 2 years. I think during that time I watched it once or twice. I remember dismissing it. I don't remember a whole lot about the movie. I was a POS. I agree. I should watch it again.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've always, again, I think because the music from the original is so saturated in the public consciousness,
Yep.
and the songs from the second one aren't, but I think they're just as memorable. Now you have to watch the movie, and you're not gonna know too many of them just like from living your life.
Right.
But like when you watch it, like they'll be stuck in your head. They're great earworms. I feel like we've got, and also. So it's set 2 years after the original, and it's the basic gist of it is that Sandy, her cousin, comes from Australia and goes to the school that she had graduated from. And and he's played by Maxwell Caulfield, who I just feel like he has so much charisma. I'm kind of surprised that he didn't go on to do a whole lot of stuff. Like, I mean, he's had a okay career, but I thought that, oh, nice.
Beautiful movie with Maxwell Caulfield.
But yeah, I feel like he should have blown up. I just thought that, yeah, he's so good. And then Michelle Pfeiffer is in, I think this is her first role, if not her first, or it was her second role. I think Hollywood Nights might have been her first role. But she's fantastic in it. She has a song, Cool Rider, that's so good. There's another song that's set in a science class called Reproduction, and it's about exactly what you think it is. And it's just ridiculous and so fun. And the romance, I feel, at the core of it, I think it works better than the original Grease. Because in the original, Sandy, at the end of the movie, she changes everything about herself to get John Travolta's character, and Michelle Pfeiffer's character, Stephanie, is not going to change anything for anyone. So I think that it actually has a more positive message than Grease does, which is the one thing that's always like really not sat well with me with Grease, is just the overall, you got to change yourself to get the guy.
Yeah. This is a fun pick.
But no, I love it. Grease 2. Check it out.
I know a lot of people are going to say it's not better than Grease, but Grease doesn't hold up super great in a lot of different ways.
There's a lot of problems with it.
Yeah. Still good. Still, a very specific canonical great film for a lot of people. Not taking that away, but
Oh, and I will say the director of it was Patricia Birch, and she was a really Um, I think she was like a big, like Tony nominated choreographer, and you can really tell like she does such a fantastic job with all of the dance sequences and the musical numbers and everything, and they're shot really well and edited well. So yeah, I think she really helped it out. I hate them both equally.
Thanks, Gary.
Well, that's fair too.
This next one, if you've watched the show for some time, this is not going to be a surprise, but I had to sort of theme this with my first pick. And so my second pick is going to be another one of my favorite Westerns of all time. Yes, Fievel Goes West is absolutely an incredible Western. This is not my pick, but Back to the Future 3, maybe one of my favorite. I mean, that's weird to say one of my favorite when there's three of them. Incredible Western.
I
But my
love
pick,
Future 3.
it's so good. And ZZ Top is great in it. My pick is actually from 2004 as a direct-to-video horror Western, and that is Tremors 4, The Legend Begins.
Oh my gosh.
I adore the Tremors franchise. I think that not only is the first movie like genuinely a possibly perfect movie, it's compelling, wonderfully acted, hilarious, a really great like intro to horror movie for kids. Michael Gross was a really fun way to hang your hat on this franchise, and he absolutely kills it in this movie, playing his elder ancestor Hiram. This movie is so interesting to take a horror franchise and say, fuck it, let's travel back 100 years, let's drown a bunch of miners and blame it on some graboids and see how fun we can make it. Now, a lot of people hate this movie because they did not have a lot of money to make this. You can tell the shooting is not great. The a couple of the set pieces really sort of haphazardly thrown together, but the charm of putting the city of perfection, or sorry, the city of rejection, into a Western setting that is, going back in time and filling this like old West center around monsters that are crazy that we've already loved for 3 sequels. They're so much fun. Was such a great way to reinvigorate this for me. I know a lot of people hate this. This might be, other than the first movie, my second favorite Tremors film ever, which is saying a lot because I adore this whole franchise. I really hope Arrow keeps doing special editions for all of them. We get part 3 here soon. But
I was about to ask, do you think that they're going to do the third one?
None of the other ones will probably be 4K because of how they were shot. The third one, maybe? I don't remember if that was shot on video or what. I don't think it was shot on video, and it might have been shot on film and then edited on tape. Not sure. Either way, Tremors 4. If you have stopped at the first one or the second one, because those are the two that Arrow put out, they are all worth watching. But specifically, Tremors 4 is such a unique idea for a horror movie, and I think it doesn't land for a lot of people, but also it looks kind of, I don't know, drabby compared to what the first ones got, and so a lot of people were disappointed in that. But a brilliant way to just be like, no, let's make it cool and weird and unique. And when you're looking back at all of the Tremors movies, this one stands out as super, super unique. It is absolutely a weird way to do a prequel to freaking Tremors in 1890. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, I haven't seen past the second one, so yeah, I'm one of those people. I really need to catch up on those. And isn't there one? It might have been the last one that has like John Heater in it or something.
He is in 2 of them, and Jamie Kennedy is in 1 or 2 of them.
Oh, really?
Maybe John Heater's only in 1 and Jamie Kennedy's in 2. But once you get to 5, 6, and 7, the CGI that they have to use is awful. They go away from the practical stuff, but they're still like really, really interesting. I think that I don't know. There's something about the monsters and Tremors and how they evolve and like what we know about them that really keeps every single one fresh in a lot of interesting ways. I truly love every single one of the Tremors movies.
Okay, yeah, I definitely got to check those out. Yeah, I love the first one, and
It's perfect, genuinely perfect.
so all right. Well, that was a great pick. Yeah, I'll check that one out too.
Sweet.
So for my next one, all right. So now we're getting into the horror stuff.
Nice.
This one, I feel like this is one that I was talking about where I feel like when it came out it was really thought of negatively, but I also feel like it had some other darker baggage that came with it. But then I think opinion has started to turn. I think some people really like it now, but I absolutely love it. And it is Poltergeist 3.
Good
I
pick.
just feel like this one, so basically, I think it actually turned out well that Craig T. Nelson and Joe Beth Williams didn't want to come back for the third one, so they basically had to come up with a new storyline, and they basically made Carol Ann the lead character, who really I at the time, like, because I was closer to her in age, like that's who I was interested in anyway.
Yeah.
So and then basically change the setting completely to the city. It just gives it a really fresh feel to it. And then on top of all of that, like, it's set in the John Hancock Center, so it's like this 100-story skyscraper in Chicago. I mean, that is a fantastic location, and
It
it's
is.
it's like, and as they portray it in the film, I've never been there personally, but if it's realistic to how they show it in the movie, it's like there's like a shopping mall, and then there's office buildings, and then there's apartments, and all on top of each other,
Yeah.
and it's basically almost like a little city inside a building, and everything is like made of glass and mirrors. And of course that's the main thing with Poltergeist 3, is that they've found their way to her through the mirrors.
Yeah.
And are you laughing at the mirror thing or something else?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a funny conceit, but like genuinely, it's a really interesting sequel because like the setting alone lends itself to some very creative shots in filmmaking.
Oh my gosh, like there's effect shot in it and opticals that I still have no idea how they pulled them off.
Yeah,
Like, just the mirror effects alone, like, I have no idea, and it's fascinating to watch just from a visual perspective. Um, but yeah, when I first, so it came out in 1988, and I probably saw it in 88 because I was watching movies like this back then. So let's say I was 6 or 7 years old when I saw it. I mean, I ate this movie up. Like, I, at that age, I was always like pretending, because I was a big movie fan even back then, and when I played, like, I would pretend that I was in movies and stuff, and like I would reenact scenes from Poltergeist 3 with the mirrors and stuff, and pulling her up on the mirror. Like, I just loved it so much. Like, it just spoke to me. And yeah, it has I mean, a great cast. Like, Tom Skerritt and Nancy Allen are both in it, and Lara Flynn Boyle, with, pre Twin Peaks.
yeah,
And yeah, I think it's just so inventive, so original. Um, and then on top of that, I think that it also called out to me at that age, because I think when it came out, Heather O'Rourke who played Carol Ann, had already passed away. And so yeah, she died at age 12. And knowing that, I think that was the first celebrity death that really impacted me at that young age.
yeah,
And so watching the movie, knowing that she had already passed away, like, it gave it a different like, it fascinated me in a way. Um and so yeah, I was drawn to it for that too. And I know that, like, it had to have reshoots done after she had died. And so the very last shot of the movie, you only see like the back of her character, and because it was a body double, obviously.
yeah.
And so yeah, it was just, yeah, so there was like different layers to it that drew me to this movie. But all in all, I just think that yeah, I just think it's fantastic. I also want to shout out to the scene where she's Carol Ann is in the parking garage, and she steps in the puddle, and hands come up from the puddle and pull her down. Like
So well done.
that was another scene that I just absolutely loved.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, this is a solid pick. Poltergeist to me kind of feels like Psycho, actually, as a franchise, where so many people have only ever seen the first one, and yet the whole thing is like a shockingly really good franchise. If you take each one at its own thing, it's just hard when you're living up to literally a classic of horror cinema. And with Psycho specifically, you have Perkins attached to pretty much everything, even directing one of them. And
Mhm.
then with Poltergeist, you've got some of the actors carrying over from the first one, and then just this crazy change of scenery and weird like deviation for a lot of people, but it works. These are still good movies. It's hard to live up to a Tobe Hooper classic.
Oh yeah. But I feel and I feel like that actually makes a good point because I think when people go see sequels, they say that they want something fresh, but then when a movie dares to do something different, I feel like they sort of turn away from it.
Yep.
I've got another movie coming up where a lot of people did not like it because of the big swings that it took with the plot. But
Yeah.
that's why I liked it personally because I admired it for that and I thought it was more exciting for that.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
hear that same argument in music a lot. Like, a lot of people get attached to a band and be like, "Oh, man, I wanna hear them evolve on the next album," and they come out and they do something really weird, and they're like, "Ooh, not like that." And people get pissed off and stop following a band because of that, which I totally get, but, yeah, with stuff like this, appreciate it. It can be good, and again, if it's not good, that first movie's still there. You're gonna be okay, I promise.
And I mean, it basically did what Evil Dead Rise did,
Yes!
20 or 30 years before.
Absolutely, yes, for sure. Um, man, yeah, perfect analogy there. Okay, so my next one, I believe, yes, definitely by far. This is my newest film on here, and this is gonna feel like a bit of a cheat because this is still a highly lauded film. I'm not taking it away from that, but still, I think this is underappreciated, and I'm gonna make a case for that. So this is something that we alluded to again earlier in the show. Funny enough, we mentioned things that we're gonna sort of talk about tonight, like 4 different times. 2019 film from Mike Flanagan. Doctor Sleep is lauded as a great film. This is a sequel to The Shining, and people are like, "Yeah, it's great." No, it's not great. Doctor Sleep is a masterpiece. This movie is not appreciated nearly enough for what they were able to pull off. I mean, Flanagan does the impossible and reshoots exact scenes from literally one of the most famous horror movies of all time, nails everything about it. The accuracy of the setting, the facial expressions of the actors, you know, trying to trying to mimic one of the most nitpicky directors of all time, and you pull it off as well as Mike Flanagan did. That is the impossible. And everything about the sequel that comes, I don't even, I probably should have looked up the exact number, but what, like 40 something years after the first movie? Or not 40, I guess it's almost 40, 39 years after the first movie. And you get this story now about Dan, I guess, Torrance, in this one that is so good. And that it's so funny to deviate away from what I'm saying because Ewan McGregor is amazing in this. But this whole movie is elevated. I hate the word elevated horror. Sorry. It is increased in appreciation so much by the incredible performance of Rebecca Ferguson and this weird group of people that is just haunting in everything you do. And you get this like terrifying and so bleak baseball scene that we get. And everything about this lives in your soul. And
And the
it
fact that
is
I'm sorry,
no,
the fact that they cast Jacob Tremblay in that
right,
role, and you're like, well, nothing bad can happen to him.
right. And they
Nothing very bad.
rip your heart out in that scene. And then everything just falls into place. And like, you can see some of the beats coming that they're aiming for, and you're like, damn, like I really hope he can pull it off. And then he pulls it off and then some, and it's like, whoa, hold on. He just, like, one of the most highly lauded horror films of all time, and he just stepped up to the plate and killed it. Doctor of Sleep is going to go down, I really think, in like 5 or 10 years as something that people look back on and go, Jesus Christ, how did we just let that go by and just be nonchalant about it? I think that this movie is going to go down as a modern masterpiece of horror, and in 30 years, there will be double features of The Shining and Doctor Sleep done that people will pay huge dollars to go into because it will be such an experience to see with the crowd. I adore Doctor Sleep, and again, I know it's weird to say because everything everything Mike Flanagan has done has gotten like great rave reviews, but no, it's not enough. Doctor Sleep it surpassed that. It is an absolute masterpiece.
Yeah, I love it too. But I really need to rewatch it because I saw it in the theaters obviously, and I loved it. But I have not seen the director's cut.
So I was about to bring this up before we went to the next one. The director's cut is longer, and it's not like a substantial couple scenes. We're talking a substantial like 21 minutes or something like that longer. Mike Flanagan, if you are a Mike Flanistan, I just made that up, I think. Mike Stanigan, I don't know. Whatever it is, if you love Mike Flanagan, a lot of what people love it for is his dialogue. If you watched Midnight Mass and you're like, fuck, I really hate these monologues, you're probably not going to love the director's cut. But the director's cut delivers this like extra exposition that isn't explainy, but just enhances it. It is a really beautiful, sort of like Midsommar did for me. This addition to the story that just made me appreciate what I like truly adored in the theatrical cut. And they just said, "Oh, you want more? Yeah, here's a half hour more that you can appreciate and love and make it just that much better."
So you still really like the theatrical, but you just think that the director's cut is the superior version?
Oh yeah, I think it's very, very good. But the director's cut is absolutely the way to go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I gotta get around to I have it, so I've got to get around to because didn't they release the theatrical in 4K, but only the director's cut in Blu-ray or something like that?
Yes. So
that is so frustrating.
Yeah, that is exactly the problem. The director's cut is only on Blu-ray anywhere in the world, I believe.
And why?
No reason.
It was obviously finished. Like,
yep, all filmed the same exact way.
But yeah, you're right. Like, I mean, it came out, and I mean, I feel like it got good notices from people who saw it, but it came and went.
Came with a whimper,
really,
yeah.
Yeah, but I do feel like I have already seen more people finding it and appreciating it. So I think you're absolutely right. I feel like, in another decade or two, it will be considered widely a masterpiece.
Again, I know it's weird to pick it on a night like this where I'm talking about Tremors 4 and then follow that up with Dr. Sleep, but truly, like, if you get 40 critics in a room, probably like 2 or 3 talked about it in high regard, and a lot of them just didn't bother to say much about it. This movie should be up there with like best horror movies of the last 25 years, easily. 100%.
So my fourth is so this one, I feel like this is another one where I feel like it came out and I think it was very mixed, let's say, and I thought it was almost as good as I won't say this is as good as the original, but it's almost like I think that, and I've only grown to love it even more through the years, and it is Scream 3.
Nice.
I know a lot of people who don't like it because they say that, it's too broad. It gets too comedic. But I feel like that's I mean, there's parts, yes, but I feel like that's overlooking the overall story, which I think is arguably as dramatic as any of the films in the series, as far as Sydney goes and her backstory. And I don't, well, I mean, it has been 25 years. I don't know if I want to give away, but but let's just say it adds more to her backstory with her
Yes.
mother and everything. But I just, I there's so much inventive, yeah, so much creativity that went into the third one. I felt with transferring it to Hollywood and having it be set on the Stab 3 set, and the conceit that the actors in the film are dying in the order that they die in the script. I think that's so much fun.
Yeah.
Um, and then on top of that, we've got arguably the best supporting character in the entire franchise, which is Parker Posey. Absolutely brilliant. Like I thought she should have gotten an Oscar nomination for that role.
Damn,
That
that's praise.
I think that I mean, she's actually talked about how she wants to come back, which I think would be hard pressed to do,
Yeah.
realistically. But at the same time, I would welcome it because I would just love to see what she's doing now. But on top of that, like I also feel like uh, with the Sydney's character, I think that it realistically, I think it's the only one where it so far. I think the new one coming up next year is going to explore her life more for the first time, really. Because
Yeah.
I mean, in the second one, she was in college, but you didn't, and since then, you haven't really gotten too much look into her everyday life. But with the third one, like I think that it did a pretty good job of exploring, somebody who's gone through, something so traumatic, and where they are in their lives, and she sort of like closed herself off, sort of lives, out in the middle of nowhere, but she works as like like a crisis hotline person, and I think it's realistic to just like the post traumatic PTSD of it all, and when she comes to Hollywood, after everything starts up again, like there's a great set piece where she is on the set of the film, and the she finds herself in her old bedroom, which is a set, not her real bedroom, but it's been
Yep.
made to look exactly like her bedroom. And also like the set where her mother was found murdered. And I just there's just so many layers to it, like just with her being sort of inundated with all of these memories from her past that were so horrible. um yeah, I just think that's a great set piece on top of it all. And also it is like I think it's uh I know that some people are a little bit divisive over this, but this dream sequence that she has with her mother coming back and being at the window, I think I almost remember you saying at one point that you didn't care for that. I actually think it's one of the creepiest moments in the whole franchise. Um, so yeah, I love it from beginning to end. I think the comedy works, but I also think that it doesn't lose sight of its story or its characters or the drama that's involved in it. So
Great pick. I'm on record for saying, as far as horror franchises go, Scream I think is the highest quality throughout for the most part. I've soured on the newest ones a little bit over the last couple of years for sure. Like walking out of the theater, I'm all high. I'm like, "Ooh, brand new Scream! This is great."
that's
And
the exact.
I go home and think about it. I'm like, "Wait, maybe not."
It's like well, yeah. I like all of them. There's not a
Yeah,
single one that I would say is bad
yeah,
by any means. The fifth one, yeah, I was so high on it at first. When I went and revisited it, like I think some of its problems started to show.
yeah.
And also like just I mean, I know we're talking about Scream 3 and not the fifth one, but just to mention the fifth one, like the fact that the original movie with Stu's house is like an actual house
Yeah.
on location in Northern California, and it's been relegated in the fifth one to a replica that's on a studio lot, and you can tell that it's on a
Yep.
studio lot. Like that's just heartbreaking in a way because it just takes away, I don't know, the feel of it. So
To bring that back to the third one, I think it's brilliant to have a house that like real Scream fans are familiar with Sydney's house, and so to be able to see her run through a set of her house
yes,
is hilarious and like meta in a couple different ways. That is just great. Um,
and like
I
she runs through the one door and there's nothing on the other side, so she's like hanging off of it.
So I really do enjoy Scream 3. I mean, anything that gives Roger Corman a cameo, I'm gonna love. But I have to admit, this one is my least favorite, primarily because it is rather obvious that the script fell apart from what they wanted. And I don't want to I don't want to spoil too much for those that don't know about the story behind Scream 3. If you're interested and you've seen it, go look it up. But essentially, what is revealed as the killer at the end of Scream 3 was only supposed to be a part of what that story was telling you. And there are a handful of things in this movie that, because of the way they actually showed it, literally it makes no sense. It would be impossible for what happened to actually happen because the story was meant to have different people being
Oh,
involved.
interesting. We, on the other hand, it does something really interesting. In the third act that's set in the mansion,
Yep.
it does something interesting where somebody that you think is dead, and then you're like, there's literally nobody else that it could, like, there's like it there it's like everybody's either already dead or the people that are still alive running around are not the killers. So you're like, who is the killer? So think that's sort of clever how it does that. It sort of like switches
Yeah.
it around on you.
I agree. Yeah. I actually really like the third act. I like the fake out. You think Dewey's about to die, and then it's the knife handle. I
Oh
like
yeah.
that's one of the first times I think that they did a fake out death like that in a type of movie like this. So
and
yeah,
and also going back to Parker Posey. So like she's playing an actress who's playing the Gail Weathers, and so like I love their chemistry together, and the way that she basically decides like, I'm gonna hang on to you because the killer really wants you, not me. So if we're together, he's gonna kill you, not me.
yeah. Scream 3 is fun, and yeah, this is a good choice. It's definitely, I could see it being underappreciated because a lot of people hate this movie, like
Oh yeah,
genuinely,
yeah.
that loved the first one, were like kind of mid on the second one, and then hated the third one.
And I don't, yeah, I just don't get that. Like
Oh,
even if you think it's your least favorite, like you do, like at least you still see the
yeah.
positives.
They're all very good, and a lot of movies wish it could be as good as Scream 3. Oh man, that leads me. Gosh, I have two left. Okay, I'm going to talk about this one first because we just talked about horror so much. This one is not horror, but cult adjacent ish, and this one's kind of odd too because it's technically uh not necessarily a sequel, but it is part of a trilogy. Um, I am very happy with the other films that we got in this, so I'm not putting those down. I loved those when they came out. I think that they were great, and at each different era of my life, the first two films in this trilogy were my favorite films from the trilogy. But now, I think one of the most underappreciated sequels of all time, which I mentioned on the show before, so again, probably not a surprise, 2013's The World's End by Edgar Wright. This movie has aged like fine wine compared to the other two. And I'm not saying Shaun of the Dead is problematic now or anything like that. Shaun of the Dead is still great. Hot Fuzz is a fantastic movie. But the way that not even the way that Edgar Wright got you to invest in, funny enough, not even characters, just the friendship of Nick Frost and Simon Pegg for two movies, and then he takes you to the third film, and you're like, "Oh, cool! They get to go drinking. They're friends. This is gonna be a lot of fun." but they flipped the roles, and Nick Frost is now suddenly the regular dude, and Simon Pegg is the fuck up, and you immediately like have something weird in your head go, this doesn't feel right. But afterwards, it really hits you, especially if you aged with these films. Watching The World's End at 17 is so different than watching it at 32, because by the time that you're 32, you have known so many people that are like Gary. You've had friends that are stuck in their ways from childhood, from teenagehood, from getting in trouble, from just wanting to drink every Friday night and Thursday night and Tuesday night and whatever. But the way that they tell the story is so just like meaningful in the idea of friendship, the idea of like a familiar area for you to be bonding with friends and know the people around you and feel like what we've lost in 2025, which is this love of third places where you can go with somebody else that's not work, that's not home, and just feel welcome and accepted at a place like a local pub that you go to all the time. And this movie being told with freaking robots and aliens and so much shit happening on screen to show the story about a 40-year-old alcoholic at its heart is so damn good and so poignant. I think it was just too soon after the first two. Most of the people watching it were like 23, and they were Gary still. And so many people hated it because they couldn't relate to it in the way that Edgar Wright was looking back on it. Most of the people that were watching this were Gary and couldn't look back yet. They needed to separate from that life and grow up a little bit like Gary had to through this whole thing. And it truly reframes this entire story. And having certain people that I grew up with that watched this with me in the theater that all hated this movie, that are still massive fuck ups that I don't talk to anymore, believe me. But knowing that like this was so prescient about what you're harming through a relationship like that, God, this is a great movie. Again, I think it's like a masterclass in storytelling that we're attached to Nick and Simon rather than the characters that they played in Hot Fuzz and in Shaun of the Dead, because they're different. But that core relationship of the director and the two stars was such an iconic tripod of contributing equally to this, that by the time the third film was there and it pulled the rug out from under you and flipped it, you are completely lost in that. And for a moment, you are a little dazed watching the first act of this film. And then when you get into it, God, does this movie hit. I love The World's End, and I think it might be the highest quality out of all three now.
Yeah, you make me want to revisit this really bad. I've only seen all three of them one time each, if you can believe it.
Wow.
And each one was in the theater, and I've never revisited any of them. I liked Shaun of the Dead, and I liked Hot Fuzz, and I really did not like The World's End. And but ever since then, I can say that I'm probably wrong, because I've had so many people over the years tell me how good it is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And how they don't understand how I don't like it. so yeah, I can willingly say that I could become, maybe I was having a bad day when I saw it, maybe I just wasn't in the right mood, but you're making me want to revisit it really bad, so I'm going to.
I hope you watch the whole trilogy, man.
Yeah,
Hot
I'll
Fuzz.
start watching them all.
Hot Fuzz is so damn cool. The way that they frame all of like this action buddy cop comedy up against like a horror-ish background with this murder mystery cult
Yeah.
story, so perfect. And then Shaun of the Dead lampooning every zombie movie ever is just brilliant filmmaking for Edgar Wright. I love all three of these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good pick. Yeah, I'll go back and watch all of them. It's definitely in need of a revisit.
Yeah. Craig says he watched Hot Fuzz, then The World's End, then Shaun of the Dead. That would make for an interesting way to view them, for sure. All right, sir. I think we are on to your final one.
All righty. So this one, all right. So this was the one that I was referring to, where I feel like it took big swings and people turned against it because of that. And that's the exact reason why from the very beginning I was so drawn into it because I couldn't believe how different it was than the other ones, and for the final one. And that is, and also I fully believe a lot of people aren't going to like this who are watching this, but I
Huh.
think you like it. So, and that is Halloween Ends.
Wow. All right. Interesting.
Well, as you know, Halloween is my favorite horror franchise. So
Yep.
I could basically go through and defend every Halloween movie except for Resurrection. But Halloween Ends, yeah, definitely not what people were expecting, and I feel like it almost, even though obviously Michael Myers is in this one, it almost mirrors Halloween 3 in the way that when that came out, it was advertised in a way that people didn't even know that it had nothing to do with the
Yep.
previous two, and so they were just outraged by it. And David Gordon Green has actually said that he even gave hints to its connection to Halloween 3 by adding, in the opening titles, there's the font color is in blue,
Yep.
just like Halloween 3, which I thought was so cool. It's like a subliminal thing, but basically, like, Halloween Ends, like the pre-title sequence starts, you're watching like this college kid who is babysitting, and like the child that he's babysitting is beyond annoying, and it's Halloween night, and you're like thinking, all right, Michael Myers is going to show up at some point. He does. Not only does he not show up, something even more horrible happens, and then it goes to the titles, and you're like, okay, this is not what I was expecting from the last movie in this series, and
Yep.
where is it going to go from here? And I was so excited by that. I've seen enough. Straightforward Halloween movies. I don't need it
Yeah.
anymore. I totally welcomed what this movie did by basically changing. Yeah, this one is known as, so the character, the babysitter, his name's Corey, played by Rohan Campbell. I think he's fantastic in it, but people hate his character.
Yes, they do.
Like, people are like vehemently like,
Yeah.
they despise his character, and I think it's fascinating. I think it's such a great character, and his performance is great in it. And where it goes from there, I thought it was interesting that for basically the first time you actually get an idea what Michael Myers does for the other days of the year that aren't Halloween, which I thought was interesting. Other than Halloween 5, where he's just like passed out for a year with a guy with a parakeet. And then as far as Laurie is concerned, I found that interesting too, because at the end of Halloween Kills, somebody very, I don't want to give it away, but somebody very close to her is killed. And you're like, well, she's already been through so much. How is she going to handle this? And so it's set a few years later, and you can tell that like she's gone to therapy. She's like worked on herself. And she's like, finally, for the very first time in the series, you can see the Laurie that was in the original movie. Like, it feels like her. And it feels like she's back to who she was. I mean, obviously you change over time, but I could tell that it just felt like the original Laurie. And I thought that was so interesting that they did that. And it couldn't be by accident. I mean, even the way she dresses is, as much as I like the 2018 Halloween, like, I thought it was kind of boring the way that they sort of basically turned her into, someone who lives behind all these bars and stuff, and she's just gun toting and this and that, and
Right.
and I found, the Halloween H2O version of her more interesting because
Love Halloween H2O.
like that was a more interesting take on what she would be like later on, I thought, than even though I do like the 2018 one, um but basically, I could defend Halloween Kills because I think that one's underappreciated too. I think the trilogy that David Gordon Green did, I don't really have many problems with it. I thought that it was very well done. Um and and then even with the end, like I just think it's pitch perfect. It ends the way that the first one ended, with like the shots of the different rooms, but it's in the daylight and it's changed. And I just think that it's sort of poetic in its own way. So come at me.
So funny enough, I don't love Halloween Ends. I like it. I don't think it's nearly as bad as the world made it out to be on that first month of release. Because oh my god, did the world hate it for a month? But up until about 10 minutes before we went live, I knew that you're like a Halloween worshiper, so I said I'm gonna make my final pick Halloween Kills because I think Halloween Kills is the most underappreciated of the new trilogy. It's great. And then at the last minute, I changed it, and I'm not going with Halloween Kills. But I do think people should watch Halloween Kills. It is truly great. Yes, the whole Evil Dies Tonight thing, it's bad dialogue. It shouldn't have been said 54 times. 7, sure. 54, probably not.
Although I am annoyed that people focused on that so much. Like, there's so much more to the movie than that.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. But oh my gosh, I love Halloween Kills.
It's so good, and it's the movie that Michael feels the most dangerous to me in that movie by far. I mean, the whole park scene is, well, like, my god, the most visceral violence in any Halloween movie by a long shot.
Yeah, I think that's my out of that David Gordon Green trilogy. I think that whole park sequence is the best part of any of the movies, like horror wise. Like, it's so, yeah, like you said, it's so visceral. The tension is so high. Like, I loved that they brought Lindsay back and actually gave her like a good like chase scene. And I would say I decided to do Halloween Ends because I think that's the one that people dislike the most. But I think out of the three, I would probably it would be a toss up, but I think Halloween Kills is probably the best of the three.
I understand why people hate it, like Colton here. I totally get it, but the thing is, I'm not attached to the Halloween franchise like a lot of people. To me, it feels like the most disjointed of the main of the main horror franchises. Like,
there's so many different timelines and different,
So, like I said, I thought it would be cool to talk about a Halloween movie, but I decided I'm not going to talk about Halloween Kills at the end. So, at the last moment, I decided to make this true to my heart, something completely different. Get out of this timeline that everybody hates. And I think we have to talk about Halloween 2 by Rob Zombie.
That was one of my honorable mentions.
Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is something that should go down as a modern horror masterpiece. This 2009 movie is something that we have never gotten, still to this day, out of Halloween films. There's so many things that are pulled off here. Like, it is a bigger story, but not told in like a more complex way. It's more grounded in the humans than any of the other Halloween movies. It makes Laurie feel like a real person, like they almost got to in Halloween Ends, and like they almost got to in the first movie, but they never quite got over that point to me. I feel like Zombies Halloween 2 takes it to that other level where you are pouring out empathy at this person in a way that's not just, I don't know, like with Halloween Ends, I think the empathy that I felt at that point was almost just like, you fucked with her so long, just give her a break, Michael, come on. But with Halloween 2, it was just like, oh my God, this girl is being tortured. Like, we have to get out of this situation. And there's something about Rob Zombie that so many people hate with everything that they are. And I have enjoyed the vast majority of what he's done. Yes, 31 is a bad movie. I'm not going to argue with you there. It's a bad movie. However, it was a very troubled production too. But so many
Although
people.
I will say, as much as I disliked 31 the first time I saw it, I went back and rewatched it again a few years later, and I actually liked it a little bit more. It's still not great though.
I totally get that. Three from Hell, not a good sequel. The biggest thing is the power from the first two was Sid Haig, and when he passed, we should have just let that go. We didn't need a third film without
Yeah,
him
it
being.
totally should have ended with Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, but Halloween 2, everybody looks at these movies, and first off, people didn't want a new Halloween. They didn't want somebody else coming in and tainting their timeline. Dude, your franchise has been tainted far too many times. Let's stop bitching about that. But then the people wanted to complain because they gave us too much backstory. I get it a little bit, and I get that people hate Sherry Moon Zombie, and I get that people hate the Rob Zombie classic dialogue. But Halloween 2 is where he is firing on all cylinders most for a franchise type film like this. That's not Devil's Rejects or House of a Thousand Corpses. Both of those movies are stone cold classics to me that I adore, both of them in very different ways. Halloween 2, the white horse scenes, the stripper scenes, the death scenes that are just gnarly, the brutal, like the way that people are treated in this movie is so just maniacal at its heart.
I mean, this one is by far, out of every Halloween movie that's ever been made, this is definitely the darkest and most brutal.
It is great. It is a Rob Zombie that honed his craft finally after 4 films, 4 or 5, I think it was only 4 at that time, and being able to make this in a system that was already built against him. I mean, remaking Halloween was never going to go easy, and people didn't respond well. It made a little bit of money, so they gave him a sequel, but he went all in on this, and they truly did something special. And I think people are going to go back in time and watch this in a way that you just separate it from anything Jamie Lee Curtis and John Carpenter, and this movie is amazing. Great music, great acting, great effects. Truly an astonishing piece of cinema that honestly I think it's way better than his first Halloween movie, and something that should be discussed outside of the Halloween franchise as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Now, would you say, have you seen the theatrical and the unrated? Which would you say is better?
I
have a very strong opinion.
I honestly, the theatrical to me is a better movie, but I don't know. There's something sadistic about the unrated cut. Like it's I think it's more fun to watch, but the theatrical is the better movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I strongly believe the theatrical is the better one.
It is, yeah.
I wish that you could do like sort of a Frankenstein cut of both of them and put them together, because there's things about one that I like, but then there's other things I like. But the ending of the theatrical is so much better than the other one. No, I've like written it off. Like I'm like, the theatrical is canon, because I refuse to believe that what happens at the end of the other one is what really happened.
Yeah, it's so good.
Like, and you know, it's a shame that the second one wasn't as successful as the first one, because I know that they were planning on doing a trilogy, and I just would have loved to have seen what Rob Zombie would have done with that third one and bringing Scout back. Because I thought she's fantastic in it.
She's genuinely amazing. Like maybe the best performance in anything associated with this franchise.
And also, like, out of, I could be overlooking something, but basically out of any slasher movie I can think of, I feel like this one is most realistic to portraying the aftermath of somebody who's been through something like that, and what they might be like a year or two later.
Yeah.
And I think it's it's fascinating. I will say, so just as an aside, because this series means so much to me. So when the first one when the original Rob Zombie one came out, I saw it at an advanced screening. I was a critic back then, and so I went to an advanced screening of it, and I was so outraged by what I saw because I was so stuck in my head about what the original was,
Right.
and it was so different, and just, you know, the dialogue, like it, the Rob Zombie, world that he always creates in his movies that's
Yep.
just grungy and grimy. And I'm like, that's not what Halloween is.
Yeah.
And then like it after the first half, and it basically the second half of the movie is like a Cliff's Notes version of the whole original, but in 45 minutes rather than 90.
Yeah.
And I remember leaving the theater and just like being so angry. Like I I don't know if any movie has ever made me madder in my life. And what's funny is that, and then I went home and like just wrote this like diatribe review about. But what's funny is, so then the director, the unrated, I don't, the director's cut came out,
Yeah.
which is like 20 minutes longer or whatever. And I've seen it many times since then, and I've actually grown to appreciate it. And the longer version helps it immensely
Yep.
because it doesn't feel as rushed. I still have many issues with it. I swear, like in that third act, Laurie is stuck in the walls for like 30 minutes straight, and you're like, would you get out of the wall?
Yeah. It lags.
but um but it's grown on me. But Halloween 2, from the very first time I saw it, I said, this is fantastic. This is what I wanted the original to be.
Yeah, and I guess to sum up like all of that on Halloween 2, there's one thing that this movie gets that I think, funny enough, since we just talked about Halloween Ends, I think that's the only other movie that comes close to getting this. Is Halloween 2 feels like everybody from the first movie is still feeling what just happened in that first film. They haven't recovered, and yet all of these other characters that are like newly added to the story that you don't know anything about, they just simply don't understand what's going on, and it's still so real to all of the victims that were around this. And it is, again, like it's the Halloween film that drew the most real empathy out of me. And there's something about it that Rob Zombie was able to make it so real. But truly, Rob Zombie alone, underappreciated as a filmmaker. I think people have shat on him for so long. He's really, in my opinion, only made two kind of bad movies, and they're not even terrible. I think looking at everything's done, House of a Thousand Corpses, really good. Devil's Rejects, masterpiece. Halloween, pretty good. It's kind of bad, but pretty good. Halloween 2, masterpiece. Not going to talk about the Haunted World of El Super Beasto. Lords of Salem secretly might be Rob Zombie's like technically best movie. 31, bad movie. 3 from Hell, bad movie. Still fun to watch both of them, but bad movies. And then we get to the Munsters, and most people had an opinion but have never seen it. I adored the Munsters. I think it is so well done. He should not be out there touring like he is right now. Go make some more freaking movies. You're great at it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious if he's gonna make anything else, or
I don't know if he can get funding. That's the fucking worst thing here. Like
he
his
used
stuff
to be,
doesn't.
because he used to be, so hot as far as just being
Yeah.
able to get some of the stuff greenlit. And I mean, he's had a lot of successes, earlier on, if they gave him the money to actually do something else. Yeah, the Munsters. Yeah, Patrick really liked the Munsters.
It's great.
I I appreciated it, and I thought it was really good, but I think that it was sort of misguided because it basically ends where I thought it should have started.
I get that.
So maybe we can get a sequel. Well, that'll probably never happen. But it could be like Addams Family Values.
Yeah, it probably would be a better, just like Addams Family Values is better than the original. Well,
I'm glad that you picked Halloween 2, because that's another movie where certain people just despise that movie, and it confuses me because I just think it's so great.
It made people think. I think that's the biggest thing. Is it's like an art house Halloween movie, and people were not ready for that.
And also, just as an aside, like Danielle Harris is heartbreaking in it,
So
and
good,
Brad Dourif, like when
so
when he
good.
finds her, like that's some of the best acting I think I've
The
ever seen.
anguish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is so much. Speaking of so much, this topic, I feel like we could have each done a different list of 5, and so I'm sure we both have many more that we want to share. What
Yeah,
else?
we'll just go really super fast through them.
Yep.
So I wanted to bring. So I just wanted to mention all of the key famous horror franchises. I just wanted to call out some of them that I like that people don't. So starting out in celebration of it being after midnight, so it's officially Friday the 13th. I am going to defend Part 5, A New Beginning, and Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. People don't like the 5th one because it's not really Jason.
Right.
I think that's why it's so cool. I think it's different.
It's
I
unique.
think
Yeah.
it has one of the best chase sequences, I think, at the end, up there with Part 2. And also I think sort of like Halloween 2, I think a lot of the later in the 80s, like if you watch some of the Friday the 13th movies today, they are so watered down because the MPAA was
Yep.
basically cutting everything from them. Like if you watch Part 7, there's virtually no blood in that movie at all. Like you can just tell that they just cut it to shreds.
Yep.
But Part 5, they weren't cracking down yet. And yeah, that's like it's like the Halloween 2 of brutality when it comes to the Friday the 13th.
It's good. It's much better than In a Violent Nature, which is just Jason walking.
That's actually a good comparison. It actually does sort
Yeah.
of remind me of that. And then with Jason Takes Manhattan, like the main criticism of that is that
AKA Jason on a boat.
yeah, he doesn't get to Manhattan until the last half hour. But the kicker for me is so that's actually the first Friday the 13th movie I saw in the theater. So I
Nice.
was 7. And my older brother took me to see it, and we got in. And and I love the scenes on the boat. That's my favorite part. I don't really care about. I mean, yeah, it's cool seeing him in Manhattan, but I don't really care about that because it's like,
Well, and it's not even Manhattan. It's not done well.
yeah, yeah. But like, I like I like Jason on a cruise ship. I think that's cool. If they had called it Part 8, Jason, Jason on a cruise or something, people wouldn't.
If they would have called it Jason's Voyage to Manhattan,
yeah, something like
people
that,
would like it more.
then people wouldn't have had the criticism.
Yep.
Anyway, I like them. The only one I can't quite defend is Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah, it's not great.
That one does take big swings. I'll give it that much. But that one really does for the last one, and it's called Jason Goes to Hell. You want to actually watch him in the movie, not his soul in other people's bodies.
Yeah. It's true. What else you got?
And then for Nightmare on Elm Street, I picked Part 2.
So good.
Freddy's Revenge. Because I feel it's underappreciated. I feel like people like it more now, maybe.
Yeah.
But back in the day, like I think it was sort of like the black sheep. Like, I just find it fascinating. Well, I love that, the director can deny it all he wants, but the entire movie is a metaphor for
Pride Month.
Exactly. It's about a teenage boy who's struggling with his sexuality. And if you can't deny it, like the director has said that he wasn't even thinking of that. I'm sorry. When you've got a scene where all these big balls are like bouncing in the gym towards the kid, and he's like being whipped in the showers by Freddy with like the and then you've got the protagonist who's like dancing in his room and just it's coded and so obvious. But I
Freddy
love
coming out of him. Yes.
yes, and Freddy literally coming out of him, and he's trying to fight the urges. It's so yeah, I love that one. Do you have any more that you wanted to
Yeah. I've got It Chapter 2 is way better than people give it credit
Oh
for.
yeah.
It does not suck. I love It Chapter 2. Day of the Dead is the best of the original Romero trilogy, and people look down on it because they think the other two are amazing.
Oh, do you think it's better than Night of the Living Dead?
By a long shot.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And Dawn of the Dead is the worst one by far.
Oh, I would agree with that.
Funny enough, it almost made my list, but you were talking about it, so I kind of booted it for Fievel. 28 Weeks Later, amazing movie, really great sequel. If you've not given it a chance because it's Jeremy Renner and in a city, it's totally worth it. It's a very different movie, but that's not a bad thing. It is so well made.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to bring up Creep 2. Creep was like this masterpiece that should not have been as good as it was, and then to have the balls to make a sequel to that, like in the exact same way, Creep 2 never should have been good. It is so good. And the fact that they could keep up the quality like they did, the Duplass brothers are amazing. Completely away from the horror side before I share the last one I wanted to bring up. If it's been a long time since you've seen it from the 90s, go watch a Very Brady sequel, The Brady Family Going to Hawaii. It is so funny. There are scenes in that movie that are like tonally weird, but so funny at the heart of it. It is a great comedy. So good.
And can we talk about how amazing Jennifer Elise Cox is?
So good.
Like that's somebody who should have had a bigger career after those movies. She should have been like the Anna Faris of her time, because she was amazing as Jan.
Yeah, fully agree.
But yeah, I agree. I think the sequel is better than the first one.
Last one I want to talk about, one of my favorite horror franchises. Went and saw the vast majority of them on opening day with my wife since we were kids. I mean, the first one came out like 21 years ago now or whatever. Saw 6 is actually a masterpiece, a really great movie. And the fact that the whole thing is built to lambast the American healthcare system is such a brilliant way to take a torture porn film and make it way relevant for modern audiences. And I think it'll go down as tonally one of the best horror sequels of all time, easily.
Yeah, it definitely has one of the more memorable sort of setups and storylines as far as the motive behind everything.
Yeah. Any more for you? Or is that it?
Yeah, I just have a few more real quick. All right, this one's going to be highly controversial.
Here we go.
Jaws the Revenge.
Jaws 2, maybe, but Jaws the Revenge.
Oh, huh? No. Jaws the Revenge is better than Jaws 2. maybe that'll get me kicked off the show.
Just don't say it's better than the first one, and
no, it's not as good as the first one. But I just feel like Jaws the Revenge, like if you saw the first two and thought to yourself, I want more of Chief Brody's wife, then like this is the movie for you. And like Lorraine Gary is front and center for the whole movie, and like I'm here for it. I love her in it, and it's like, yes, it's ridiculous that the shark is gonna follow her to the Bahamas. That's ridiculous. But everything else, it's like a romantic drama. It's like what we were saying, Wolf Creek with sharks, like for dangerous animals. This is like, it's like a romantic drama of a woman finding herself, and it just so happens to have like a shark like attacking and killing people on the side. Yeah. And like she falls in love with like who is it? Who is the?
It's been ages since I've seen Jaws 4.
Hold on, I got it. Oh, Michael Caine.
Oh, that's right.
Michael Caine, because he said that he took the movie because it paid for his house.
Yeah. Oh,
at least he's honest. But
I love the implication that somebody watched Jaws, the first movie, and went, "I want to see more of Chief Brody's wife,"
which was me. That's why I love her in the first. I actually did
Oh,
I did
man.
a Facebook post once where I was like in defense of Ellen Brody, and I was like, "Oh, interesting." And I was like, I want to see more of Ellen Brody. I was like, Lorraine Gary should have gotten an Oscar nomination for supporting actress for the original Jaws. But she's so
Oh,
good in the
it's
part
good.
of the
Yeah.
role. Anyway, all right. The next two, I'll go quicker. Yeah, this is a little bit more outside the box. This is
Oh, yeah, not one
Curse
I've seen.
to the Bite. So, have you seen either of the curses?
I think I've seen the first Curse ages ago, barely remember it. Definitely never seen the sequel.
So they have nothing to do with each other. It's like an
Of course.
in-name only sequel. So the first one has Will Wheaton in it, and it's about like water contamination, and it starts like turning his family into like zombies or something. The second one, which has absolutely nothing to do with it, it stars Jill Schoelen, who I love, and she's on a desert road trip with her boyfriend, and he gets bit by a snake. And it's been a while since I've seen it, but I think the snake has been injected with some special sort of venom or something, and it basically her boyfriend's hand starts transforming into a snake, and it's crazy, but it's creepy. And for anybody who has a phobia of snakes, I think it's one of the better snake movies out there.
Yeah.
It's very well done. And I was actually, Jill Schoelen is really good with social media, and like I've been talking to her recently, and I mentioned to her the other week of it because she had done a post about Curse 2, and I was like, how did you, the end of the movie, without giving it too much away, like the end of the movie, she's like in a pit. It's like raining, it's muddy, she's in this pit, and there's snakes everywhere. And I'm like, how did they do that? And she's like, I was told that they were not going to be real snakes, and then they dumped real snakes all over me, and I had no choice but to just go along with it.
Jesus Christ.
I would have been so pissed off. It's impressive for that alone.
Yikes.
And then this also stars Jill Schoelen, but I want to just highlight When a Stranger Calls Back.
It's a good movie,
which I think is better than the first one as well. Hear me out. The first one, it basically, the best, well, I guess it's arguable, but the best part of the original movie is the first like 20 minutes with Carol Kane, and the calls are coming from inside the house and blah, blah, blah. But when Stranger Calls Back, like it extends that for a little bit longer, and I think does more with it, and it's even scarier. And then I think it's interesting. It actually does something similar to what we were talking about with Halloween 2, where it sort of picks up with her character like a year later, and she's really struggling to move on with just, the trauma of everything she went through. So I think that's interesting. Yeah. And then I also think, it came out in 1993, and it's almost sort of, it's like an early requel, if you want to call it that, like, because they bring back Carol Kane and Charles Durning, 14 years after the original to sort of help her. So it's sort of like what they did with Scream 5 and the upcoming I Know What You Did Last Summer. So I think it's interesting. And there's also an awesome, have you seen it?
I've not. I have, but not in a long time. Not in a way that I want to claim it. I really want to point out, this show has never, in the history of 4 years of doing this, never mentioned the words Charles Durning ever, and we've mentioned him twice tonight. What is up with that?
Well, when you mentioned him earlier in the show, in the back of my mind, I thought, oh, I'm going to mention him later.
Wild.
All right, and then, all right, 3 more, and I'll go super fast. Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2, I'm not going to say this one's as good as the first one. So don't think I've lost my mind that much. But I will say that I was very impressed that, especially so it's directed by Joe Berlinger, who's a famous documentarian, and he did the Paradise Lost documentaries about the West Memphis Three.
Yeah.
And then for them to then choose him to direct a sequel to a fake documentary and then choose not to make it a documentary and just a conventionally told film.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of bizarre, but I like it. And I like the fact that they go in a different direction with it, because you would just expect them to just do another found footage movie. So I think it's good in its own right. I think it's very much a 2000 movie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But, right down to like the Poe song on the soundtrack and all of that stuff. But I like it. Okay. Last two. Yeah, this is another one that almost universally was hated, and I have absolutely no idea why, because I loved it. I'm not going to say it's as good as the original. It's not as good, but I did love it. Exorcist the Believer.
I still haven't watched this. I need to.
I have no idea why everybody turned against it the way that they did, because I thought that it's the most respectful to the original, and it deals with a lot of the same themes of a lot of the same themes that are in the original about faith and the supernatural, and just I think it does a really good job of being basically what the original Exorcist is, which is more of a human drama that just happens to have really frightening things in it.
Yeah.
But I've always seen The Exorcist as more of a drama than a horror film.
Yeah. On that note, because that just reminded me, I probably could have thought of this earlier and put it on my list, but I actually, as an underappreciated sequel, I truly love The Omen 2. I think it's a similar thing where it's a drama more than a horror, but the second one might be as good as the first movie, which is crazy because that first movie is a freaking masterpiece. I love it. But the second one is so good. Like, I love the whole franchise, but that second movie is really great.
I like any sequel that decides to go the snow route.
Yep.
Like, that's why I'm so excited for the Black Phone 2, because it looks genuinely like, I was skeptical of what they could do with it, but now that I saw the trailer and I saw what they are doing with it, and it's set like in the winter time at this like camp, and
I'm unsettled for sure.
Yeah, and they're sort of going out. They are sort of going a more supernatural route. It's almost like he's become sort of like a Freddy Krueger.
He's a figure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued by it. All right, last one. And this one, again, I have no idea why people didn't like it. I thought it was fantastic, and this is one that decades from now people are going to reassess and love and wonder why people didn't like it before. And it's Joker Folie à Deux.
I still need to see this one too. I'm terrible.
I think I know that they were both divisive, but people tended to like the first one, and obviously, it was Oscar nominated, and Joaquin Phoenix won the Oscar, but where they went with this, I thought it was organic to where it needed to go, while also standing on its own and not just being a repeat of the first one. And I loved Lady Gaga in it, and it was, I think she was nominated for a Razzie for it, which is patently ridiculous because she's fantastic in it.
Yeah.
And the only reason they nominated her was just because it looked cool to just dump on the movie that was a flop.
And again, most people that dumped on it never even saw it.
So, and yeah, I know a lot of people didn't like it because it was sort of a musical. Well, I mean, musicals are my second favorite genre, next to horror, if you didn't know that. So I'm never going to complain about a movie being turned into a musical. Yeah. But I thought it was a fascinating sequel. And Yeah, yeah, I'll defend it and continue to, and it will be reassessed in years to come.
I need to see it. I've wanted to see it, and it's just it can't be a priority, unfortunately, amongst so many other things happening. But yeah, all solid picks. Very, very solid picks.
Awesome. Did
This
you have any more, or was that it?
That was it.
Awesome.
I guess Omen 2, Omen 2 is one I could have added. I mean, there's so many things. Like, I think, I don't know, to get a little basic about it, like Conjuring 2 is underappreciated because everybody has sort of been like MCU'd to death through the whole Conjuring universe that they've done. But Conjuring 2 is like an equal but opposite side of the coin to Conjuring 1 that does not get the love that it gets. I mean, it created like 3 or 4 other iconic villains, some really great scare scenes in that second movie, very cool setting, to take it where they did. I think it was really great. I mean, Patty in the chat, he mentioned Escape from LA. It's not a good movie, but it's a really fun movie, and I think seeing Escape from LA on the big screen really changed my feelings on it. It's a hell of a lot of fun and does not deserve to be maligned as much as it is. Let's see. I mean, we could go through silly things that we kind of already alluded to tonight, but there's a lot of major ones that people have talked about, like the Indiana Jones, the first one everybody always loves, but the second and the third one to so many people are way better.
Yeah, I've always said that Temple of Doom is the best in the series.
It's so good. It's
That's the one that I, as a little kid watching these movies, Temple of Doom was the one that I just kept returning to because it's like one action set piece after the next that would appeal to a kid. Like jumping out of the plane and then they're on the raft and they're going down there and then they run off the cliff and then there's like the dinner with all of the animals and the monkey brain and the snakes and the whatever, and then you've got like the tunnels with the bugs, and it's like one thing after, and then like the train ride and then the bridge at the end. Like every single thing appealed to 8-year-old me.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I don't know. There's so many that we could talk about, but a lot of these are also just like super appreciated, highly lauded films. And so again, great choice for a topic tonight. I feel like we really got some deep cuts. I mean, what other show was talking about The Curse 2, The Bite, and Tremors 4, and a long discussion on Scream 3, all in one show? This has been a lot of fun.
And a Fievel deep dive.
I forgot. Yes. What were the words? A hardcore Fievel discussion. Yeah, and Patty Boy's right. Kevin Smith's supposedly writing a sequel to Dogma right now.
I know that he was supposed to be writing a sequel to Mallrats, but I don't know if he's still doing that or not.
I think it got tabled because somebody came and offered to fund Dogma 2 if he did it immediately. So he was like, hold that thought, Mallrats, and went and jumped on Dogma 2. So he promised that he was going to take Dogma 2 to the Cannes Film Festival by their 80th anniversary or the 81st, which would be not next spring, but the following spring. So
why do I feel like he's not going to bring back Linda Fiorentino? Because apparently he did not have a good time filming with her.
Yeah, I'm just.
I think his actual words were, "I should have cast Janine Garofalo in the role."
I mean, I get that sentiment though.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I mean, so we're thinking that like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are going to.
That's what I was about to say. You can't go into this and not get both of them, right? They have to do this.
And you got to have Alanis Morissette back at least.
Of course, God. Unfortunately, the biggest missing, Alan Rickman, of course. But yeah, I'm very, very curious to see how Dogma 2 will play, and not to mention what do you write it about? After his career and the lampooning from not even really the Catholic Church, but the Catholic League, which is one person, and most people don't realize that it's like mostly one person. They're the ones that attack Dogma. To follow that up a handful of years later with Red State, I want to see, like, is there a completion of that trilogy of films that's going to piss off the religious right? Because Dogma and Red State sure as fuck did it.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. Oh my gosh.
Speaking of interesting to see, that has been you, my friend. Thanks for being here tonight. This has been such a blast. Really great discussion. I love Matthias is here, and I say we're leaving right as he says good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, we've been live now almost 4 hours, and not a moment that I have been bored. I mean, listening to us talk about these has been a lot of fun for me, at least. Hopefully for everybody
Oh, I
watching.
loved it.
Thank you. Thank you. Really fun week scheduled for next week. Friend of the show, Aaron West, who's writing the book on A24, is coming back, and we're going to have a discussion on something that's super close to both of us. It's going to be a real fun one. I don't want to spoil it necessarily, but it'll be a great discussion, and I hope that you enjoy it next week. Dustin, great night. Lots of good announcements. Thanks for giving your time.
Thank you so much. And if anybody missed it at the beginning, go see The Life of Chuck this weekend. It is the best movie I'll see this year, and the year's not out, but I seriously doubt I'll see anything better.
We'll see if it overtakes Sinners for me, because I truly loved it. Matthias, you're in Sweden. One of a band that I love is from Sweden. I hope you're enjoying it over there. Hope you're healthy, happy. Dustin, you're amazing. We'll get you back on hopefully sooner than 9 months or whatever.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, everybody. You know the drill. If you are interested in having more conversations like this, sign up for the Patreon in the description below. We'd love to have you. See you in the Discord. Till next Thursday, have a good week. Be safe this Saturday. See y'all. Thank you for watching The Disconnected. On the way out, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, that you've liked the video, and that you've copied the link to be able to share with someone else that may appreciate this.